All right, guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the stream. Welcome if you are new here. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. Ghetto God already getting crazy in the chat. Corey, what's going on, man? We were wondering where you were at. Like, what happened to Corey, bro? Zanarkand. We even got Major Zanarkand Blitzer 140.85 radio frequency in the chat today. Michael Werneth, you said there could be a member drop if people have a liking towards MBG's video. Guys, make sure you hit that like button. All right. Michael needs you to do it. I need you to do it. We need more likes. It helps the stream. Hi, Corey. We love you. Irfan, what's going on, man? Where's Honko? I don't know. I don't know where Honko is. But yeah, thank you guys for joining me today. Another, what I'm sure will be an amazing episode of Press X Podcast. We have topics to discuss today. And as I say that, Corey, the Legend Landiga, makes his presence known immediately by dropping 5 membership gifts. Boss, where are you? Get your ass in here. He's somewhere. Actually, where is he? But Corey, thank you so much for the 5 member gifts, man.
I'm no hero. Never was. Never will be.
Mrs. MBG is next to me right now. So she's trying to be top secret. I guess she's the producer for now. She demanded, she told me to do the Gopher Scream. So, but yeah, Corey, thank you for the 5 member gifts. I'm going to add that to the goal. We are going to be talking about a few PlayStation related topics today. All right. We're going to be talking about the storefront. Sony is making a lot of changes suddenly to the PlayStation Store. It seems like they're getting serious about actually trying to improve it. We're going to be talking about Ghost of Yotei, whether or not it will be getting DLC. We have Sucker Punch commenting on it and letting us know what their plans may or may not be. We're also talking about another PS5 remake, specifically another Resident Evil remake. We're getting corroboration of an earlier report, which seems to confirm that this remake is real and is happening. So we'll talk about that. We have a couple of other things as well, such as how much time and money it apparently took for Guerrilla Games to make the different tribes for Horizon. Because, yeah, we're learning about that now, apparently. Any Ninja Gaiden fans? I know people are stoked for Ninja Gaiden 4, right? That's coming out today or tomorrow or sometime this week. I think that's like the big release this week. Did you guys hear what's going on with Plants vs. Zombies? It's looking kind of spooky. Not sure what's going on there. I'm still going to play it, I think, but it's sounding like EA actually screwed it up. No, Corey, I don't think it's Resident Evil 1. They're doing like everything except for Resident Evil 1. The Resident Evil remake we're going to be covering today is Resident Evil 0, as well as Code Veronica. Apparently, these are the next 2 remakes, but they're not going to be releasing next year, but they're probably going to be announced next year. It drops tonight at 8 Eastern Time. You're excited to play? Yeah, I know there's a lot of excitement for Ninja Gaiden. I probably am not going to play it. I've never really played a Ninja Gaiden game, but I've heard good things about them. I remember watching the trailer for this new one, and it does look good. I'm missing out, Gothmog? Probably. Yeah, there's a lot of games I'm missing out on.
Hit the like button.
That's a new soundbite.
Hit it.
Yeah, guys, so make sure you're hitting that like button before we dive into any of these topics and any of these conversations. We're sitting at 40 likes. 10 more likes and we hit 50.
Good job, Honko.
Yeah, hit the like button. I know it's a very long soundbite.
Good job, Corey.
Keep hitting that like button, guys. Michael did tease you guys with some membership gifts. We'll see. He's good for his word. He's good for his word. He didn't give us a specific goal, though. So he just wants to see you guys hit that like button. Maybe we could go for 125, 150, something like that. A Mrs. MBG laughing soundbite. That would be a good one.
A woman, show your face. Shams, come to morning with the missus. You'll see my face.
Yeah, well, just a heads up. Speaking of membership gifts or memberships in general, Corey's like, "Whoa, don't get greedy, bro."
Miss Corey.
Yeah, we do have another morning with the missus. We're gonna be doing this Friday. It'll be the Halloween special.
Yes.
So
Lady Deadpool.
apparently, I'm gonna be a bald Wolverine. I don't know. I'm gonna be wearing Wolverine with a hat. I don't know what's going on. Hat-verine. Absolutely cursed. But yeah, if you are a channel member, please look forward to that this Friday. And if you get gifted a membership, make sure you check it out. And if you enjoy that content, consider renewing your membership. Let's see where we're at here. Michael says he saw Cabin in the Woods.
Oh, did you like it, Michael?
It was good when I watched it. I really enjoyed it. So it became one of your favorites. I enjoyed it. It was definitely
His
unique.
chunk is huge.
I'm letting you. I'm making this clear right now. It's just gonna be this. All right, it's just gonna be this. I'm not like this. Me wearing the skin tights. I guess. I mean, that's what they're. They're pretty much tights. That's gonna be for you, not them. They're not ready for that.
Corey,
I'm not ready for that.
can't
Ray.
Shave? Good job, Ray.
Ray, thank you. Good job dropping those membership gifts, Ray.
Give him a gopher.
Metal Gear Ray.
But that was some fancy
I'm going
shooting.
to be naked from the waist down.
You're pretty good.
I played the gopher before.
Do it again. I didn't hear it.
I want more Yotei content. We are going to be talking about Ghost of Yotei today. We are. But Ray, thank you for the 5 member gifts, man. I'm going to add that to the counter as well. And so,
Thank you, Ray.
yeah, before we get into anything, like I said, oh God, swallowed a cat hair there. Like I said, make sure you hit that like button. Holy shit.
I'm emotional support. That's what
Yeah.
I said. Channel emotional.
Mrs. MBG emotional support. Oh God. Okay, let me try this again. Continue to hit that like button. Guys, if you want to support the channel, if you want to support the content, and if you want to support the community, there's a couple of ways you can do that. Become a channel member. Okay? Or if you can't become a channel member, maybe you'll get gifted a membership. Consider renewing that gifted membership if you get it. But yeah, we got Corey and Ray dropping member gifts. Consider keeping that member train going. You can drop super chats, direct donations. These are all ways in which you can help support the channel, the content, and the community. We are completely fan funded, and you guys make all of this possible. So thank you to everybody who supports, and thank you to everybody who just watches the content as well. Because obviously, if there was no viewership, that'd be it, right?
Oh, do you know it'd be a perfect soundbite for that?
What?
That Keanu Reeves on stage talking about, "You're awesome."
Oh, you're
awesome." That
breathtaking.
would be
Yeah.
so good.
Starfield PS5 news on Reddit. We'll check that in a little bit, Irfan. Starfield can wait. Can it? 100 hours with Yotei. Just beat the Kitsune. Story's awesome. Wow, 100 hours, dude. What's Perfect Image doing? He's 100 hours in the Yotei and he's just now beating the Kitsune. That's actually what I just did too. I think I'm 3 Yotei members down. So 3 more to go. Yeah, no spoilers. But like I said, I'll keep playing. And we'll do that spoiler cast. I think I'm gonna wait until I don't know if I'm gonna platinum the entire game. I might though. I might platinum it and then do the spoiler cast. Yeah. Butcher, you really liked it. You liked the story. Arian says 100 hours in Battlefield 6. Wow. I mean, I probably have more than 20 hours in Battlefield 6 so far as well. Not 100, but yeah, it's been fun. I've been playing with some friends at night, and I'm just trying to figure out if I'm going to get the platinum for Battlefield 6. I'm working on like the multiplayer trophies. A lot of them are just grindy, but they do have a campaign, and I most of the trophies are for the campaign, and I just like don't want to play it. I'm just not interested. Boss is doing something out there. I'm just like not interested in playing the campaign, but if I do want to get the platinum, I'm going to have to do that. So, yeah, a lot of people have been playing Arc Raiders. Seems like that game is set up for a big launch. It seems like it's going to be a very successful game. I've been seeing that all over my Twitter. I did try it. I couldn't get into it. I just couldn't do it. I talked about this a little bit yesterday, but I did try to play Arc Raiders, and I appreciate what they're doing. Like I can appreciate the graphics and the smoothness of the gameplay. It seems like a very well made game, but I just couldn't. Yeah, it just wasn't clicking for me. But it seems like it's going to do very well. Um, which is funny because Arc Raiders is a an extraction shooter, and that's what Marathon is. And I feel like Arc Raiders is going to ultimately find the success that Sony and Bungie hoped or are hoping that Marathon would end up finding. Um, so yeah, that's again, it seems like Sony kind of bet on the wrong horse there, but Raiders will get you jumped and ganked. Nice. We've gamer terminology, am I right? Extraction games aren't for everyone. Well, it's weird because like I like the concept of an extraction shooter. I don't know. There was something about Arc Raiders. I don't know if it was the loot or I just felt like I wasn't. I don't know. It just wasn't clicking. I don't want to say it was bad because it wasn't bad. Obviously, people are really enjoying it, but yeah, just not for me. Butcher, you're saying you loved Ghost of Tsushima, but would say that Ghost of Yotei has a better story. You're not the first person I've seen say that. I've been encountering more and more people saying that they liked the story of Yotei better than Tsushima. I'm enjoying it about as much. I notice. I think as of right now, I still enjoyed Tsushima's story more, but again, I think I still have about 30 to 35% of the story left, and I'm curious to see how it wraps up. Titus, what's going on, man? Oh yeah, I forgot the division had a the division had a extraction shooter mode as well. You'll just say you almost cried at the end. Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I've encountered a couple of twists and turns so far that I wasn't expecting. So, but guys, we are going to dive into the first topic here. And I don't know how long we're going to discuss this topic, but it's definitely something that I think is worth mentioning because we've been talking at length about, Sony going into next generation. We've talked extensively, not just about the PlayStation 6 and the PlayStation 6 handheld, but we've also talked extensively about Microsoft and whether or not there's going to be meaningful competition. And we've talked all about the potential of the next generation Xbox hardware or Microsoft hardware. And with those conversations, we've also talked somewhat extensively about Steam, about Valve, and how some people believe that Sony is going to end up finding more competition with Valve and Steam than even Microsoft and Nintendo. And what we're seeing with the latest PlayStation Store updates, I think, could be an indication that Sony is trying. I don't want to say necessarily they're trying to take on Steam directly, but that they're clearly looking at some of the things that Steam does from a storefront level that people love and that people look at as, hey, this is part of what makes the Steam storefront experience so great and so superior to all the others. Um, I think that Sony is beginning to kind of take some notes. Yeah, that's the big one, right? So the first thing is you can now, at least on the mobile, or not mobile, on the web storefront for the PlayStation Store, you can leave written reviews for games. You can leave written reviews, and I think they give you like 4,000 characters or something like that. So they can be pretty extensive, and they give you options to tag spoilers or not. And so it's a pretty decently robust review system. And this comes not too long after they added the rating system where you can rate between 1 and 5 stars. Now they added something else on the PlayStation Store, which is the lowest price in the last 30 days. So I checked for myself. I didn't see this yet, so I guess the update's going to be rolling out in waves. But they now have a tab where, like, if you click on a game that's on sale, the example I see right here is Gears of War Reloaded on. This is the example that Push Square used. Gears of War Reloaded is currently on sale. It's £30 and it was £40. And it says save 25%. Offer ends October 22nd. And so it says above that, and this is what's new, lowest price in the last 30 days, £30. So if it was ever lower than that, it would tell you, right, during the last 30 days. So this is a feature that people, based off of this article that Push Square wrote up, apparently this is a feature that a lot of people who use the PlayStation Store utilize, except it's not baked in, or it was not baked in to the PlayStation Store prior to this. There were like third party websites that people would use to track this and figure out what the best deals are and if they are or are not getting the best deal and if they should continue to wait. So it seems like Sony, again, they're kind of paying attention to this stuff and they're looking for different things that they can implement to improve the overall usability and convenience factor of the PlayStation Store. And I think this is really smart because I don't necessarily know that there's going to be fierce competition between Valve and Sony next generation, but knowing how important the PlayStation storefront is to Sony and the PlayStation brand, and knowing how obviously important Steam is to Valve, and how people really do love a lot of pretty much everything that Valve does with Steam. I feel like this is Sony going in the right direction. Boss, stop that. Are you kidding me? Come up here. He's trying to pull my cord out. Jeez. Come on, man. He's trying to sabotage the stream. I think they're moving in the right direction. Now, the big thing, and we touched on this briefly yesterday, but it is worth bringing up again here since we're covering this, is something Sony really needs to improve when it comes to the PlayStation Store, especially if they're gonna, you know, start to push people a little bit more gently, I guess you could say, into going all digital. I mean, people are willingly already choosing to go all digital, but they really need to, I think, figure out their refund policies. Um, one of the things I can't stand about the PlayStation Store and the idea of going all digital is, like, even if you just pre-order a game, and to be fair, I don't know what it's like if you pre-order a game on Steam. Maybe you guys can tell me. I don't know if it's as simple as you just cancel it, but it's like if you pre-order a game digitally on the PlayStation Store, you have to go out of your way to contact customer support to cancel that pre-order, And I feel like that's kind of ridiculous. I don't know. I feel like if you pre-order a game physically, right? Like, it's like, for example, if you pre-order a physical game on Amazon and you decide you don't want it anymore, you just go to, you open up Amazon and you just click cancel order and that's it. I feel like this is another area where physical is significantly better than digital. Where, I mean, for a lot of people, they're just saying don't pre order games in general. But, like, if you're going to, it's just nice to know that if you pre order something physically, at least on Amazon, I can't speak to other retailers, but at least on Amazon, just one click and you can cancel it at any time. and that's it. And they don't even charge you, I don't think, until it ships. At least in my experience, when pre-ordering games on the digitally on the PlayStation Store, I think they charge you immediately, and if you want to cancel it, you have to, you have to contact customer service. And it's not that they're like they won't give you a hard time. I'm just saying there's like multiple hoops you have to jump through to just simply cancel a pre-order. And if the game is out, the only now this is where I don't know if Sony's going to change this or not. And they should consider it because this is one of the major advantages that Steam has is if you buy a game on Steam, you have I think a 2-hour refund window where you can request a refund, and as long as you don't abuse the system where, you're not just buying game after game, refunding game after game after game, and it's as long as you're not making it obvious, I suppose, that you're just trying to take advantage of the system and exploit it, it seems like you're always going to get that refund. And that's gone such a long way. You can abuse the system. You just straight up apparently you can, I don't know. And Corey the Legend Landiga comes in and drops another 10 membership gifts for you guys. Corey's like, I got to make up for some lost time for boss here. He's sitting on the chair next to me here. Corey, thank you so much for the 10 member gifts, man. That's 15 from Corey today.
Holy shit.
So that really helps, man. You can refund a game. Wait, Verkar, you're saying you refunded a game you beat? Wow, okay. I guess Steam really does take it to the next level, dude. I didn't realize it was that intense. And by the way, guys, we are now 5 membership gifts away from hitting our first goal. If we hit 25 members, we'll feed the beast. We'll give boss some treats. He's waiting patiently over here. So Corey set you up for that. And make sure you're continuing to hit that like button, guys. We're sitting at 73 likes. We could easily get 75. I think we could push for 100. We got to make sure Michael is happy, okay? Got to give him enough likes. And Zombie Dragon does it. Zombie Dragon comes in. He's been coming around more often, dropping some gifts for you guys. He dunks it for 25 here, and we can now feed the beast. Apparently, Luna is ready too. She's already here. Luna might beat boss to it.
Boasty, read me. It's time to feed the beast.
Come on. Oh, wow. Okay. Luna is being assertive today. Sorry, boss. You snooze, you lose, bro. I'm just kidding. You don't lose. You'll get your treats too, but you're going to have to wait for Luna. So Luna is living up to her name here. But guys, thank you so much. We just crushed the first goal. We hit 25 members. We'll see if we can keep a member train going. We'll push to see if we can hit 50 today at some point. And then we'll do some reps at the end of the stream as well. MBG, not to make you look small, but comic accurate Wolverine is taller than you. No, that's not true, Digital Dude. I'm not 5'3". Isn't comic accurate Wolverine 5'3"? He's pretty short. MBG, you can get a refund from the PlayStation app. Is this true, guys? Lady Gamer, I didn't realize that. Now, granted, I haven't had to request a refund very often from Sony. It's actually been rare. Actually, one time Sony burned me. At least it felt like they burned me. Really, Luna? Luna just left. She's like, I'm not even gonna finish. Fred, you thought he was just straight up 5 feet? I could have swore it was 5'3". It reminds me of Deadpool and Wolverine when they show Logan sitting at the bar and then he gets off the stool and he's like really short. It's pretty funny. But no, I'm not quite there. Maybe when I get really old, I'll shrink. I don't know. I don't think he's going to be 5'3" in the game, by the way, for the PS5 game. Balderine. I mean, you get a pretty... Listen, if you watched the movie Logan, his clone variant or whatever had like a buzz cut. So it's pretty close. Pretty close to a bald Wolverine. That's like the closest you're going to get. So not too bad, Hanzo says if we hit 50 memberships, I'll do 100 press ups. Well, Lady Gamer, you're saying it's true. You can get a refund from the PlayStation app. Well, there was this experience I had a while ago. I bought this game called, it was a skateboarding game. God, what was it? It wasn't Session. It was the other one. There was like another indie skateboarding game, and I played it for like maybe an hour, and I'm like, this is not good. Like I paid $40 for it. That's what really frustrated me, is it was not a cheap game. They asked for $40, and the quality, in my opinion, was not there at all. I even forget the name of the game, but I remember I tried to request a refund where I'm like, guys, like I'm a loyal customer here. Like I've been buying from the PlayStation Store for years, and I buy games physically. Like I'm a loyal customer, and they just wouldn't do it, man. Like they were just like, nope. I even asked if I could talk to like the manager or whatever, and they were like, nope. And I'm like, I was mad. Like it was. I did tell them, not that it mattered, but I was like, I said I'm MBG, and I'm gonna talk about this on my channel, and you're gonna regret this. I didn't say that, but I did say that I'm not gonna be buying games digitally. Like I don't know. I was at that point, I was just mad, and basically I was making it sound like hey, you're gonna lose a customer here, and they still didn't budge, and I was pissed. I was pretty mad because I'm like, listen, I'm not trying to take advantage of the system. Like I bought this game thinking it was going to be good. If it was like a $10 or $15 game, I probably wouldn't have cared, but it was $40. And I'm like, this is not good, and it's just not a bad game. And I remembered that, dude. And it's stuff like that that makes me continue to aggressively push against an all digital future, especially for PlayStation. And I do hope that as Sony continues to try to improve the PlayStation Store, and they continue to improve it, I hope they take some notes, with Steam. I don't know that they'll match Steam, because that's crazy. What you guys are telling me about Steam, like you can take advantage of it. You can return a game after you beat it. Like that's wild. I've never heard of anything like that. I don't think Sony would be able to do that, or they could, but I don't think they would. But they have to get a little bit better. The way Sony does it now is if you buy a game digitally, the only way you can get a full refund is if you didn't open the game. Like you didn't click on it and start the application. If you started the application even for 2 minutes and then closed it out, they won't give you a refund. And they'll make you jump through a bunch of hoops, like I said, just to even cancel a digital pre-order, let alone getting a refund. So I hope that's the next thing that Sony looks into improving. Did I do that thinking out loud thing again? Michael, you were saying that you said you watched Cabin in the Woods and you did like it. Next is The Shining, then Pumpkinhead. Yeah, The Shining's good. That was my recommendation. Pumpkinhead, I can't vouch for that. I haven't seen it. I never even heard of Pumpkinhead, dude. The exception was Concord. Yeah, that was the only exception, Shems. Sony was like, we're giving you your money back whether you want it or not. That was crazy. Digital dude, that's well, whatever gets you out of bed, digital dude, right? MBG, I'm going to be honest. If the occasional refund is something that scares people away, they're not normal customers and may have issues of the mental kind. I mean, that's the thing, dude. Like, I rarely ever, at least when it comes to digital stuff, I go into digital purchases expecting like this is it, you know? But that's why it is good to see Steam being so against the grain, where they're like, well, I don't think other companies are going to look at what Steam does and say we should do that exact thing, because I do have to question how this works for Steam. You know, like I do question how can Steam be like, it's great to see them being so consumer friendly. Obviously, like that's fantastic. But like I guess I'm just saying, like from their perspective, how are they not losing money? You know, is it just the natural way of things where it's like they just trust that enough people will be good enough to not do that and basically destroy the marketplace and destroy their storefront? Like, yeah, like most people don't abuse it or something like that, because that's pretty cool. If that's like, if they're not losing money behind the scenes, that's a pretty awesome thing that they got going there. And Michael Wernish with a $2 super chat says, let's see if we can get 150 likes if you want a membership. All right, guys. Michael's putting you guys, he's putting you up to task again. So we are at 84 likes, guys. Michael wants to see you get to 150. He's telling you if you hit 150 likes, he will bless us with some more membership gifts. So hit that like button. We could easily get to 100. It'll be interesting to push for 150, though, because we have 160 people here. So almost everybody would have to contribute. Push. Push for 150. I believe in you guys. You have yet to let us down. Half-Life 3 will never lose money, regardless of how long it takes. Yeah, apparently it's real. Apparently Half-Life 3 is coming. Yeah, I just think Sony has to. Here's my opinion on it. If Sony wants the PlayStation Store to continue to proliferate and to continue to grow and to continue to be a top tier option for people, like a go-to place. It already is a go-to place for people to buy their games, but if they want to improve it, I think what they have to do is go in this direction. They don't have to be overly aggressive about it. You know, where it's like, we're going to have an even better refund policy in Steam. I mean, that'd be amazing. But there's no way they would do that, right? That would be, it would go against everything we know when it comes to how Sony operates. It would be shocking. But they could start slow and, you know, if they can get better at issuing refunds, I think that'll go, even if it's just a little bit better, it'll go a long way into, I think, encouraging that conversation where, like, if we're talking about comparing the PlayStation Store to Steam, right? What are some of the pros and the cons? What is it that Steam does that's so much better or superior? Why doesn't Sony do that? What if Sony does start doing that? I think that, you know, it really, I think Sony, what I'm trying to say is, should start to, if not go tit for tat against Steam, again, take some pages out of their book, because I think that will only greatly benefit the PlayStation Store. It will greatly benefit the conversation around it and the overall view that people have. And I think that will bring in more customers. I think that'll bring more people to the storefront. And I think Steam is kind of proof that when you take that more consumer-friendly approach, not just through, you know, having a great storefront that people can engage with on a deeper level through the reviews and, just having these layers upon layers, but also that better return policy, especially because they're all digital, right? Maybe that's one of the reasons that helps it make it easier for them to do it, is because there is no physical option for PC. If Sony's going to be going in that digital direction more so, starting with the PlayStation 6 or beyond, yeah, I think it's something that they might want to look into, and it can only benefit them. But what do I know, right? What do I know? Well, Michael, it's really a time thing more than anything. It's more of a time, because there are other games, like the next game I want to play single player wise, when I'm finished with Yotei, is Mafia: The Old Country. That's one that I wanted to play when it came out, but I couldn't get around to it. So that's next in line. Then at some point I want to play, like, people have been recommending Chronos to me. Ninja Gaiden, it does look good. But I am a little bit nervous. Like, I don't know if there's a demo for it, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it's one of those things where if I go to play it, I'm like, oh, this looked good, but I'm not really feeling it. Wait, Titus, you're saying comparing two digital stores is apple to oranges? Oh, I don't think that was to me. Oh, you're having some discourse with Gaming Survivor. I mean, yeah, well, the only if we're I mean, the idea of apples to oranges, the only thing that makes sense to me is that Sony operates at, like, they make so much revenue, it's absurd. And if I had to try to understand, well, I do understand. I think that the apples to oranges thing, I think, comes down to one company is publicly traded, one is private. I really think it's that simple. I think it's that Steam can basically do something that may not make the most business sense because of the level of risk associated with it. Like, how much money could we lose doing something like this? And it's like, let's just trust the process. We can literally afford to trust the process because we're not chasing constant growth. We don't have to worry about losing shareholders. Sony's in that opposite end where, like, I can tell you right now, one of the biggest reasons why Sony probably wouldn't consider doing something like this to match that type of refund policy is because they would be afraid of, like, okay, so we're looking our P&L, we're looking over our P&L, and yeah, this is working against us. I mean, Sony operates at this level because look at what they did with PlayStation Stars. You know what I'm saying? Like, even something like that, they were like, it's cutting in a little too much. And I think that it does kind of suck in the sense that you don't like to see things be so corporate and things become so corporate because they're beholden to the shareholders and they're a publicly traded company. And so it's not necessarily about being corporate apologists per se, as much as I think it's just kind of the understanding that Sony can continue, I think, to do what they do because they're not in any type of trouble. And this is why I said earlier that I don't know that Sony's making these nice improvements and these welcome improvements to the PlayStation Store because they're looking at Steam and they're like, okay, we have to kind of, like, you know, catch up a little bit here. I don't know if it's because of that or they're looking at other storefronts as well that offer something similar, or if it's just simply that they're like, okay, well, we've pretty much taken care of everything else. What else can we start to do now? And so it's like, I have an idea. Let's do user reviews. I don't know if it's, you know what I'm saying? I don't know that what we're seeing is necessarily being driven by competition as much as it's just Sony's reached this point where they can now just have a more broad overview of, okay, what areas can we improve upon? I'm not sure. Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's hard to imagine Sony's completely ignoring Valve. It's hard to imagine they're completely ignoring them. But at the same time, Sony will never be able to, and I know this sounds funny because people kind of have these conversations about it's, Steam versus PlayStation, Valve versus Sony. But the reality is, I don't think those two things will ever clash in the way that people imagine they will or even could or should. And I think it's because of that. I think it's because Sony will not be able to go down to Steam's level. And I don't mean that in, like, a negative way, like Steam and Valve are low. I don't mean low, like they're everywhere. I mean, like, I think Sony's too afraid. I think that's just what it boils down to, man. I think Sony would have to see, if Sony starts to see a winding down of engagement on the PlayStation storefront as a place like Steam continues to grow, then I think you could see Sony get much more like, okay, now we have to zoom in on what Valve's doing. and really start to emulate that. Yeah, guys, make sure you're hitting that like button. We're sitting at 96 likes. Michael Werneth wants us to get to 150. I think we can do it. I think we can do it. Make sure you're hitting that like button. He says he'll drop some membership gifts for you guys if we hit that goal. Okay. But yeah, regardless, not trying to make, I didn't really mean for this to turn into a, a comparison between the PlayStation storefront and, you know, um, Steam per se, because they are different. They just are. Steam is so ubiquitous in that it's on every PC. You can install it on any PC, any Windows device. You can install it on any device, pretty much, practically speaking. The PlayStation Store, as of right now, is still tethered to Sony's hardware ecosystem. And so I believe that you will see Sony take the most drastic action when it comes to their storefront. And I don't know when or if this day will come if they choose to separate their PlayStation storefront from the hardware. The moment they decide to untether those things, you will see, I think, some radical changes in how Sony approaches the storefront. But in the meantime, I think they're just implementing more low key changes, but very welcome changes where, yes, I really do hope that this review system that is set up for, um, the web-based version of the PlayStation Store where people can leave written reviews. I mean, it would make no sense to set that up and not bring it to the home console. I'm looking forward to that though, because that's awesome. Like that would actually make me engage with the PlayStation Store much more, to where like even if I want to still buy my games physically, being able to go to the PlayStation Store, go over a game that's out that I'm thinking about buying, and reading those reviews prior to me deciding if I'm going to buy this game physically and have it delivered, that's incredibly helpful and incredibly useful. So yeah, review bombing as well. Yeah, that too. Um, but it's nice to see these little changes, and I hope to see Sony continue it. There's one other thing I'll mention before we move on to the next topic, and that is that one of the things I think we're seeing. Let me take a step back. We know that for the last like 6 months or so, or maybe it's been longer than 6 months. I've actually lost track of how long it's been. Maybe the last year or so. We have the new Sony leadership. We have Hideaki Nishino as the head of the platform. Hideaki Nishino is, he is the head of all things PlayStation, Sony Interactive Entertainment. And I think ever since Nishino took over, like I think he's taking the PlayStation Store more seriously. I've always got this sense from him in every like corporate report, and we would hear him talk, and I just got the sense like he seems to be very focused on the PlayStation Store, or he emphasizes it quite a bit. But what really solidified that was um, this year in September during what was it? Tokyo Game Show. He did a talk on the PlayStation Store. It was like this whole keynote speech about the PlayStation Store, and I'm like, that's interesting. Like, I think it's coming from him, is what I'm trying to say. Like, a, I think we have an executive that is looking at the PlayStation Store and taking it a lot more seriously in terms of like, we need to get on this and start making some changes and improvements than we've seen previously. That's speculation on my part, but I think we're starting to see that. Oh God. Oh, hold on. I see Gaming Survivor is he's Gaming Survivor, and some of you guys in the audience, you guys are having some intense discourse over here. We have the real Snake Plissken with a super chat who says Steam offers things like badges, stickers, and items that can be unlocked by playing games and also sell for money. Professional and communities. I don't know if that's what PROF stands for, but and communities be good on PlayStation. Yeah, see, this is where like I have no experience really on Steam. like at all. Like I didn't profiles. Okay, I should have profiles and communities. It would be good on PlayStation. I always said professionals. Why would I think that? Why would I think you're saying professionals? That's pretty cool. I mean, this is where like I feel Sony should be looking at some stuff over there, you know? But hopefully they're not like me. Because that's the thing. Like, if Sony's like me, I don't really play on Steam, and so I don't know all the little details. Like I had no idea about that. Like you're saying they have badges and stickers and items that can be unlocked by playing games. The last time I remember experiencing something like that was on the 360. I remember you played Left 4 Dead 2 and you could unlock like avatar items. I don't know if it's I mean obviously I don't know that they have like avatars and stuff like that, but I remember thinking that was really cool when Microsoft did that. Like I remember earning the red like medkit backpack or something, or the red medkit item that I think anytime you would go over your avatar, it would show up on the ground next to him. I'm like, that's so cool. But yeah, I mean, these would be good things I think for Sony to look into. Again, because I think at the end of the day, all this really does is facilitate a deeper level of engagement. And when you think about what Sony's goal is exactly that. They want a deeper level of engagement, not just on the PlayStation Store, but across the entire ecosystem. And so I'll tell you what, man, for people like me, for like deeply engaged customers, we'll take even more, right? But you know, these little bonuses, these little things that seem inconsequential, you'd be surprised for some people that could be the little tick in their brain, you know, where they're like, oh, you know what? I literally want to there are people right now that they would never leave PlayStation just for the simple fact that trophies. Like they've accrued so many trophies, they've earned so many, they've earned so many platinums, they will never leave, you know? But I'm sure that's true for Steam as well. Like on Steam, I know that they have achievements, right? And I don't know if achievement hunting is like a very serious thing on Steam, but I'm like positive there are communities of people on Steam that absolutely achievement hunt that they would never leave just for that alone, you know? So I think that it's just a matter of well, I mean, I think it's a matter of Sony has one of the biggest storefronts in the world. If they want it, if they want to keep it growing, if they want to keep expanding, then they need to keep doing what they're doing, right? We're seeing some actual meaningful improvements to the PlayStation Store. These are things, and this is the interesting part. The things that Sony is implementing to the PlayStation Store right now are things that people have been asking about for literal years, decades at this point. So the fact that they're just now getting around to it makes you question why did it take so long? But that's why I said a moment ago, I think it has a lot to do with Hideaki Nishino. I think he's the one that's like, yeah, we should have been implementing stuff like this a long time ago. So I hope they keep it going. I like the PlayStation Store, but I you know, even I can tell you there are many areas that need to improve. Um, and not just the PlayStation Store, but the PlayStation ecosystem as a whole. I hope Sony continues to look into different ways they can improve upon the overall experience and lead to deeper levels of engagement because I think they had something going on there with PlayStation Stars where I'm like, this is good. Like this is, I think, very good for the community, and you know, people want to earn these digital collectibles, and you know, at the end of the day, they probably realize, well, it's not so much about earning digital collectibles as much as it's about I need to get my $5 or $10 PSN cards. And then Sony was like, well, eh, we're just gonna we're just gonna wind that down. But hey, hopefully you got your Jim Ryan bobblehead, right? The most important item that was ever released on PlayStation Stars. The real Snake Plissken, you're saying the only thing I hate about PlayStation is the store. Well, you know what's funny, dude? I remember, oh man, I remember when I first interacted with the PlayStation Store on the PS3, and I was like, it was so bad. Like, and I think that's why, to me, I'm like, the store has improved so much from previous iterations, and I'm like, it's in a good place. It can get better. I think it will get better. But oh my god, dude, the PS3, you could tell Sony really they were like, we'll figure this out, guys. We'll figure it out together. The biggest thing I remember about the PS3 and even the PS4, I had this problem with the PS4 sometimes as well. It was sluggish. I mean, it was slow, it was cumbersome, and it was like, why? And I've ever since we moved over to PS5, I've had this appreciation where anytime I've went to the PS5 store, it's been instant. And I guess for me, being a console gamer, I'm like, hey man, improvement is improvement, right? Even if it takes a while. But yeah, a lot of people see what's interesting though too is like we're seeing a new age of digital storefronts. There have been digital storefronts for a long time, but we're now reaching that inflection point where it seems like in the next 5 years or so, maybe 8 or 10, I guess it really depends on how long physical media continues to be even just a little bit relevant. I think we are kind of at that inflection point where going forward, more and more people are hunkering down. You know, I think people will play on different storefronts. People will go from one to the other, or different platforms, I should say. But the storefronts and the games you buy in those storefronts and the library you build up, you know, um, I think that's becoming clear now that people are starting to really hunker down more than ever. And the real Snake Plissken, you're saying there's a site that values Steam accounts. Mine's 10K. Holy shit. Yo, what's the most valuable Steam account? Something crazy, right? 10K. Oof. That's not bad though. Just means you like playing games. ABG, I doubt online criticism of these things. It never matches reality. I'm pretty sure Sony Store is the most profitable in the industry. I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not sure. Sony's always bragging about the PlayStation Store. The most profitable gaming storefront. Let's see. It says the most, well, this is an AI overview. Apparently, these AI overviews can be completely incorrect. So don't take it as fact, I guess. But it says here the most profitable gaming storefront is not definitively identified as a single entity, as it depends on the metric used, total revenue versus profit margins, and the platform, PC versus console versus mobile. Oh, yeah, we didn't even consider mobile. Oh, God. Yeah, however, Steam is widely considered the most successful PC gaming storefront based on its massive library and market dominance. In terms of overall company revenue, Sony Interactive Entertainment leads the industry, which includes revenue from its PlayStation Store. So it seems like they have it broke down in 3 different sectors here. PC, Steam is the dominant force, thanks to its huge user base, extensive library, and features like Steam Workshop and Steam Deck integration. The Epic Game Store is a notable competitor, reporting $950 million in PC game sales in 2023. Is that true? Guys, is it true when the AI overview says it's a notable competitor? Or is that just nonsense? Epic Game Store. I feel like I don't hear anybody talk about the Epic Game Store, dude. Truthfully. By the way, we have over 180 people here watching. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please take a moment if you haven't and hit that like button. All right, we're sitting at 104 likes. Michael Werniff said if we get to 150 likes, he will drop membership gifts. So everybody, push the like button. We're at 104. Let's push for 150. I believe in you guys. I lost a like. How dare you? How dare you? And it says here, console. Sony's PlayStation Store is part of the most profitable gaming company. Sony Interactive Entertainment. Nintendo also generates significant revenue through its eShop and mobile. The mobile gaming market is highly profitable, driven by in-game purchases and microtransactions. Popular games like PUBG Mobile and Pokemon Go generate massive revenue through their integrated web stores, as seen in the app charge analysis. Profitability versus revenue. A storefront's profitability can be different from its total revenue. Some storefronts might have higher profit margins on individual sales, while others generate more revenue overall due to their higher sales volume. Well, that's the thing. I do believe Sony views themselves as a leader. Like the way that they posture themselves, the way that they talk about the PlayStation Store and PlayStation in general, Sony definitely exudes that we are number one or we are leading in this area. And that makes sense when you're breaking records with the amount of revenue you're generating. Yeah, you're going to feel pretty good about that. Um, and I guess if anything, it is just it is a positive sign, I would say, that even during this time when they are breaking these records and they are, I guess, feeling so good about what they've achieved in the industry, they're still looking for ways to improve the storefront. Um, I at least appreciate that on the level of, like, you could almost make the argument from the other side of it that now more than ever they would feel less inclined to even consider doing stuff like this because, there's always this worry that they're going to get complacent. So I'm at least glad to see that they're not getting complacent in this regard. But it's interesting because even when I Google it, I don't know, maybe it is a kind of apples to oranges comparison to a small degree anyway, because even when I Google it, they're like separating these things entirely. And it really does just seem like there are three core sectors of gaming: the PC market, the console market, and the mobile market. And I guess, yeah, in the PC market, there's Steam. In the console market, there's PlayStation. And in the mobile market, there's, what did they say? A Pokemon Go or something? So I just hope to see the PlayStation Store continue to improve because I don't know when I'm not going to be able to buy physical PlayStation games anymore. The day that that happens, I'll have no choice but to, you know, I'll have no choice but to embrace digital. And yeah, I'm probably going to care a lot more about the PlayStation Store than I do now when that day inevitably comes. The Real Snake Plissken with another super chat. I appreciate that, buddy. Saying, I don't care how much these stores make like some people do, LOL. I just care if it has great personal options, great customer service. F shareholders. Spoken like a true Steam user. I've always wondered, dude. I have to admit, I've always wondered how different Sony would be if they were not a publicly traded company. Now, I think there would be some downsides, but there would also be some upsides. I mean, there's an argument to be made, potentially. Not an argument. That's the wrong way to word it. It's not an argument, but there's like an alternate reality where Sony is not a publicly traded company. They're not a global company, a global publicly traded company, and they basically are like a different version of Steam or something, or Valve, I guess you could say. I mean, it's neither here nor there because it is what it is. Sony's been around for a long time. I just watched this video on the history of Sony. Sony has a really fascinating history as a company, going all the way back to World War II, man. And it's really crazy to see how they started and where they began. And what was interesting is I forget the first CEO of the company, but the first. What's interesting about seeing where PlayStation is today is that the first CEO of Sony, his whole idea was he wanted to make Sony a global dominant force, like not just you know, a national dominant force, in Japan, but he really wanted to take the company global. And apparently, a lot of people did not think that was a smart idea. A lot of people thought that there's no way that would work. And again, I don't remember his name. I'm sure I could look it up, but he did it. Like he said, "Screw it, we're going for it," and it worked. And that's why it's super interesting to see, like, PlayStation. They still kind of they have that same energy that's been there this whole time with Sony, where Sony absolutely they want to be a big global company, man. And there are definitely downsides to that. There are absolutely downsides to that. But Nothing is perfect, you know? But the beauty of it is we have the options. And that's the best part. You know, if you don't like one place, you can go to another. And if you don't like that place, you can go to another. There are more options than ever before in where you can buy your games, where you can play them, and how you want to go about collecting your um or building up your libraries and collecting your digital trinkets, I guess. Oh, yeah, see Gavin, I don't know about that. See, that's the thing. It sounds good to wonder what it would be like if Sony were to become a private company until you hear something like that. Until you see like the EA situation, you're like, "You know what though? You know what? Maybe we got to be careful what we wish for." All right. But yes, that pretty much wraps up the first topic. It's just good to see that Sony is making some improvements. They're making some much needed improvements to the PlayStation Store, and here's hoping they continue that. And it does seem like they're getting more serious about it. Michael Werneth says 37 more guys, 37 more likes. 37 more likes, and he will rain down some memberships upon you. I don't know why I said it that way, but outside of PlayStation, Sony needs to make more moves. They'll get left behind. Well, I mean, that's the thing, man. I'm paying close attention to what Sony's thinking about doing with AI because I don't know, you see everything going around right now, the AI bubble. And listen, I don't personally believe it's a bubble. I mean, I think there's going to be winners and losers, and I think the idea of the bubble popping is, in my mind, it's like a lot of people are going to lose a lot of money. That's inevitably going to happen. But in terms of like AI is obviously here to stay. These are the main AI is like the main driving force behind like corporate growth now, and you know, you see these top five multi-trillion-dollar corporations. This is their domain now. And it's interesting because Sony is kind of uh, Sony is positioning themselves to be more of an entertainment company more than anything now. And Sony's known to be more of an electronics company. And they still are, but they are definitely making that pivot, and it's interesting because AI is it's already having a very profound impact on the entertainment industry, and it's only going to continue to grow from here. So I'm certain Sony is looking very closely at AI, but mm, you know, so there's a lot of weird stuff happening with AI right now, and I just hope Sony doesn't rush into it. But there are already studios using generative AI for their game development. One of those studios is a Sony studio, Dark Outlaw Games. There's apparently a job listing that says they're looking for somebody with experience with generative AI. And it's not just Sony, it's Microsoft. It's if it's not already, it's going to be Ubisoft, it's EA, this is going to be a thing. What the end result will be, I'm not sure. The Real Snake Plissken with another super chat says, "Remember when people thought they would buy Warner?" Yeah, I still kind of hope to a small extent that could maybe happen, only because I do believe, at least with the gaming sector, I think Warner Brothers Games could benefit being part of PlayStation, and I think PlayStation could benefit from it. I think that would be a good match. Certainly 100 times better than Bungie. Like sell Bungie and buy Warner instead. That's to me, that's I mean, it's not that simple, but that would be a much better fit. Sony is an entertainment and hardware company. Well, yeah, Sony's always going to be in electronics, and they're always going to be in hardware. They're never going to exit that. But it just seems like they're definitely shifting more towards being an IP and entertainment powerhouse. And I think that makes sense. It makes sense why they would want to start shifting in that direction. It's not about making the best LLM. It's about using the existing ANN models to enhance their products. Yeah, man, whatever you just said. Absolutely. Guys, 117 likes. What are we doing? You guys are holding out. We got to get to 150. Make it happen. I believe in you. You can't let me down. You can't let Michael Warnett down. You haven't let us down yet, and I don't believe you ever will. We're at 117. We need to get to 150. Big push. But we will move on to the next topic here. And the next topic is about Ghost of Yotei. And we are hearing from Sucker Punch about DLC. Now, I have to admit, everything that I don't even know why Sucker Punch is doing these post-game interviews. Or I guess maybe they're, if I had to assume, they're doing these interviews talking about the development of the game and the whole process. But all the questions that are being asked in regards to what they may be doing next and everything, anything beyond Ghost of Tsushima Legends, they are very much like, I don't know. I don't know. Who knows? Lady Gamer, you're saying you're ordering a PlayStation 5 Slim when you get your Amazon account stored out tomorrow. Well, that's awesome. Yeah. I know you're going to be a little bit late to it, but for a lot of the times when you're late to a generation, it's even better because you have so much to choose from. You have access to like you don't have to wait, So you have to let us know what your experience is like if you end up getting one. And the real Snake Plissken says AI is too big for them money-wise. Microsoft spent over $100 billion. Yeah, I do think that before we go into Ghost of Yotei, I do think that Sony, when it comes to AI, I don't think that's going to be something they push too hard right now. I think what I could see Sony trying to do is they'll try to leverage certain aspects of AI to benefit their products, and that should be what helps lift their products to, in terms of revenue and profitability. I think that's what a lot of companies are doing, but that's the thing. Companies like Microsoft want to do it at like an enterprise level where they're like, we want to create something like a tool that can be used by companies like Sony and every other company out there. And it's exactly why they're working with AMD, because in order for Sony to try to like take this stuff on themselves, it would be a ridiculously expensive endeavor. They could do it if they really wanted to dump that money into it, they could, but it would be super risky. And so I think Sony's just kind of okay being like, well, we'll see what we can do with the tools that come out of this. We saw that leaked Aloy AI thing that they did. And that to me was really interesting because that was clearly Sony messing around and seeing like, how far could we take this AI thing in a game like Horizon, where what if we made it so you could just talk to Aloy? And it was weird. It was really weird because it's like, I don't know how nobody was supposed to see that, by the way. Sony actually, they issued copyright strikes. I had to remove my stream where I showed that because I didn't realize it was that serious of a thing, but they issued copyright strikes because it's just like, no, man, we're not ready to be showing this yet. But yeah, I see Sony doing stuff along those lines. I think Microsoft, they're thinking more along the lines of, we want to create a generative AI tool for gaming that every video game developer will want to use. That right there highlights the difference between how Sony as a company operates versus how Microsoft as a company operates, where, yeah, Microsoft, them being worth trillions of dollars, they have to be pushing for those giant enterprise level successes that are like, everybody's going to use this, like everybody, right? All right. 125 likes, guys. 25 more. 25 more. Keep it going. Keep hitting that like button. We're talking about Ghost of Yotei now. So, for those who are unaware, I will just let you know there is a pretty significant patch that went out for Ghost of Yotei that apparently fixed a couple of issues that I didn't even know were issues. But it says those who purchased the digital deluxe edition but did not receive the black ghost mask after completing To Catch a Spider should now be able to do so. And I said this in my video, and I just realized now, like, I think I was completely wrong. To Catch a Spider, that's that's like the intro of the game, right? Or maybe it's not, I don't know. I don't know if that's a side mission or a main mission, but apparently it was bugged out for some people. Apparently they fixed that. Some people were having issues with fighting fire with fire. They were not receiving their flash bombs. And there was also the missing armor upgrade from the tail of the Oni. So a couple of things that I think people ran into that were causing some problems for them. And then they have patch notes and they fixed a bunch of crap, like smaller stuff, I guess, that would just randomly happen. So I just figured I'd let you know about that. Nothing too significant, but we did get an interview. Garrett, what's going on, man? We did get an interview. The possibility of Ghost of Yotei DLC could be down to you. So it says beyond the previously confirmed Legends mode, and so for those who may have forgotten, Sucker Punch did already confirm that Ghost of Yotei is getting a Legends mode, and it's coming out early 2026. So that could be January, February. I would assume somewhere around that time frame. But beyond that, they haven't confirmed anything. And so when it comes to DLC, they're saying the studio will soon decide what its next big project will be. And it doesn't sound like any DLC or expansions for Ghost of Yotei have been locked in quite yet. In fact, the chances of the latter even happening appear to depend heavily on what the game's player base is saying. Speaking to Game Informer via Eurogamer, lead developers Jason Connell and Ian Ryan suggest the Iki Island DLC for Ghost of Tsushima came about as a result of fans wanting to see more of Jin's story. It's taking the same approach of listening to the players as it determines whether there will be a Ghost of Yotei expansion or not. Certainly, we love Atsu, and we think she's a great character. And like with Jin, if there's room to improve it or to bring some new elements to life or clarity for the narrative's sake, and it falls within what is best for Sucker Punch, then we will certainly take a hard look at that for sure. The Iki Island expansion for PS5 and PS4 released just over a year after the base game came out and added a whole new region to explore, along with 15 plus hours of content in a director's cut re-release. If developer Sucker Punch hears enough from fans, then the possibility is there for Ghost of Yotei to receive a similar expansion. What is confirmed for Ghost of Yotei in the future is the new co-op Legends mode, which Ghost of Tsushima was also treated to after launch. This free offering will have new classes, 2-player story missions, and 4-player skirmishes. So yeah, I kind of wanted to just get some opinions on this, guys. What are we thinking about Ghost of Yotei DLC? Now, I want to ask you guys respectfully, try not to spoil anything. I haven't beaten the game yet. All I know is that when it comes to the Iki Island DLC, a lot of that expansion, was going back to the past. Not all of it. It was like 50-50. But the main premise of it was based around Jin's past and his father. And I mean, I will have more to say about this and whether or not I want. They did not say anything about Ghost 3. Gaming Survivor, the only thing that Sucker Punch has said recently about a Ghost 3 is that they will consider it, but they don't know what they're doing next. Like, they don't know if they're going to go back to Infamous. They don't know if they're going to do something brand new. They don't know if they're going to do Ghost 3. It really sounds to me, and I find this kind of fascinating, where like, assuming they're not like lying, I don't think they would lie, but it really seems like they just were not thinking at all about what they were going to do next. Like, it just wasn't even a thought. Like, my assumption is that in the coming months, they're just going to be getting together in team meetings and figuring out, like, what do we want to do? That's interesting because it kind of opens the door. Like, you could do anything, and it doesn't guarantee a Ghost 3. But I guess we would have to ask ourselves, do we think that's what Sucker Punch would want to do? A proper Ghost 3? I think if they want to do a Ghost 3, and again, this is without beating Yotei yet, but I think if they want to do a Ghost 3, they would have to like really change it up. You know? I mean, go to a completely different time period. Not to say that, I mean, where we are in the 1600s versus like what, like 13th century for Jin, it's like there's differences, but not like major differences. I mean, I'm talking about like 19th century. I don't know. Like they would have to make quite a leap, I think, in order to really differentiate it. Or maybe they could go back to Jin. That would be fascinating. That'd be certainly, I think people would freak out about that, you know, like to see Jin return. I think people would love that, but I don't think they'll do that either. I think Jin's chapter is closed. I can't say anything about Atsu because I haven't finished the game yet. And the real Snake Plissken, you're saying you think they talk DLC already to keep the game in, or you're asking, do I think they're talking about DLC already to keep the game in public discourse? Maybe not doing as well as they thought. The sales dropped off in Japan quickly. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I don't. We've been talking for a while now about Ghost of Yotei sales. You know, I don't know what they are. I don't know if it's selling softer than they expected. I don't know if it's doing, I mean, it seems generally speaking it's pacing with Tsushima or around it. Like, it doesn't seem like it's super far away from it. But it's really determined by whether or not, cuz let's just face it, the upfront sales of Yotei were always going to be strong. The real question is the tail, you know, going into the end of this year, going into next year, is it going to continue to sell? Because that's the thing about Tsushima, is it absolutely did. It just continued to sell. I don't know if that's going to be different with Yotei, and it really depends on if Sony's going to share that sales data with us. I did tell you guys the last time we mentioned sales for Ghost of Yotei, pay attention to their upcoming earnings report on November 11th, I think is when it's going to be. Sony will do their earnings on November 11th. It would be telling, in my opinion, but I think most people would agree, it would be telling if they don't mention Ghost of Yotei. If they don't mention because make no mistake, Sony wants to share good news with their shareholders. And if a game is selling well, they want to talk about it. They want to let their shareholders know Astrobot sold 1.5 million. Helldivers sold like 14 million. You know, like they will reveal that. If they don't say anything about Yotei, I will take that as a sign that they don't feel good about the numbers. I don't necessarily know I'll take it as a sign of complete failure or anything like that, but if they don't say a word about how Yotei sold, that would be peculiar, because I've been following Sony's earnings for some time now, and they definitely like to talk about games when they're doing relatively well. They have to, they have to let shareholders know, like, hey, here are the games we have coming. Here's how they're doing. I think there are people who absolutely want to find out that Yotei just tanked. I don't think it tanked, guys. Like, I don't think Yotei could tank. I think the worst that could happen to Yotei is it's just like, it's not keeping pace with Tsushima. Like, it's doing well in its own right, but it's not going to reach 10 million. I could see that. Or it's going to take 3 years to hit 10 million, to where Tsushima took 2 years. I think it'll be something along those lines because it's not a bad game. It reviewed well. And, putting the drama around it aside, it just seems like people like I know that this isn't the best anecdotal evidence to go off of, but I looked on Amazon and Amazon will tell you how many copies of a game is sold, like 1,000 plus sold in the last month, 5,000 plus sold in the last month. And I saw on Amazon for Ghost of Yotei, it said 30,000 plus sold in the last month. And that may not sound good, but compared to most other games, that's like I've only seen one other game that said 30K plus sold in the last month, and that was Madden. So even just kind of going based off of that, it seems to me like it's doing well. I just think the real question is it living up to Sony's internal projections? But we don't even know what those projections are. So, guys, by the way, 133 likes. We're this close. Michael Werniff, I'm pretty sure he's still here. He's still watching. He's lurking in the shadows. He's waiting. We need, at this point, we need 15 more likes, and he will drop membership gifts for you guys. We have 170 people here. I'm certain there are 15 of you that can and will hit that like button. Let's get it to 150. He says he's lurking and driving. Well, be careful, Michael. Drive safely, of course. But I don't know. I'm going to be waiting for Sony's earnings. That to me is going to be the big one. And I will tell you, not for the sake of being negative. I'm not going to be negative just for the sake of being negative. But if Sony doesn't say a word about Ghost of Yotei during their earnings, I will walk away from that saying, okay, I think this game is struggling a bit. Now, between now and then, who knows? Maybe they'll give us the numbers. Maybe somebody else will give us the numbers. We're going to find out. Major Zanarkind says, MBG, did you put certain words on a bad list? Hanzo's messages are censored. I do have a few words that are, like, at least for me, like my own list of words that I don't allow. But they're pretty. I mean, I'll have to go double check that list. It's been a long time since I've looked it over. But anytime I've put words on that list, they've been very specific, like very specific words. Like stuff that's just flat out nasty. And I mean, and like stuff that frankly YouTube's filter would probably automatically catch, but just in case. I probably should look over that list though. I should. It's because it's been a long time since I've looked it over. I don't know what word he's trying to say that's not coming through, but I doubt it's something bad. YouTube's weird sometimes though too. Like sometimes people will tell me their messages are not showing up, and I don't know. YouTube can be a little weird with their censorship. I don't know. Reddit's still down. Oh shit. Yeah, I heard a bunch of stuff is down, but Zenerkin, yeah, hope. It's hard for me to say if I don't know what the word is that he's trying to use. Let me see. Well, let me go to. I'm trying to see if it'll show me anything. Is it gamers? Cashews. Oh, okay. Hold on. Hanzo says, I censored it due to not spoiling a game. Oh, okay. So I think we have a misunderstanding here. Okay. I think Hanzo purposely censored himself. He did it again. bro censoring himself, and Xanarkin's worried. He's like, "Yo, what's going on?" Well, Wes, at least we know that's not censored, right? Guys, come on. What are we doing? 138 likes, 12 more? We're gonna struggle to get 12 more likes. I believe in you guys. We can do it. We can do it. He's waiting. He's got his finger on the trigger, man. Unfortunately, Wes, I do. Wish I didn't. I'm not gonna look. I don't know what that is. I'm not gonna look that up. Oh, what's up, Luna? She's making herself comfortable. Let me see if she'll, hold on. We'll continue our conversation with Ghost of Yotei. Oh, okay. It's not gonna come through. Or it won't show up on screen. It's too low to the ground. But when it comes to that's fine, Bliskin. I know. Well, to be honest, I only really start to beg for likes when we're trying to hit a goal. If Michael sets a goal for us, I'll beg for the likes. Outside of that, I usually just try to, remind everybody. I try not to go over the top with it because I know it can be annoying. Well, I appreciate that. You didn't hit the dislike button. I appreciate that. That means a lot. Doing my best out here, It's like, yeah, don't worry, I didn't hit the like button. I got 5 other accounts that I brought over to make sure they hit the dislike button, No, but I do appreciate everything you guys do for the channel. Look, even if there are a lot of lurkers too, right? People who don't really engage with the chat, people who just watch. Shout out to you guys as well. I don't know who you are. Maybe you've never interacted even once, but I still appreciate you. You take time out of your day, listen to any of the content I produce. I really appreciate that. Decoy octopus. Oh, man. Where's MGS4? People with hundreds of thousands or millions of views begging is annoying, though. I will say, yeah, I come across these, random YouTube channels that play, and they're usually, kids channels, and I guess maybe they do it because, they're appealing to kids, so they have to remind kids or something, but I'm like, dude, yeah, you got, millions of subs, bro. Your video has, 15,000 likes. I mean, how much further do we really got to go? I mean, for me, if I get 250 likes on a stream, I'm like, yo, that's good. That's great. I don't like likes. I'm going to be honest. I don't like the liking system. Well, it's good when you can see the dislikes because at least then it was useful because it's like, well, if you come across something and you see a lot of dislikes, that might be the viewer's way of trying to inform people that this is a bad piece of content or something. Although I don't even think people took it that way. Usually when a lot of stuff that got mass disliked, it was if anything, it draw more attention to it where it's like, whoa, why do people dislike this so much? I just would be okay if they got rid of it entirely. I'm going to be honest. And only because apparently it's tethered to the algorithm. If YouTube came out and said likes and dislikes have nothing to do with the algorithm, no impact, I would turn it off potentially, because I just feel like it gets in the way. For me as a content creator, I try not to care about it, at all. But there's no denying that YouTube is like, listen, if you want your stuff to go out there, you need to get more likes. It's like comments. That's a big thing too. They want more engagement in the comment section. So that's why you'll hear people constantly asking. And I try to figure out ways to weave this into my videos where today I was asking people to tell me it's a 2-year anniversary of Spider-Man 2. What did you think about Spider-Man 2? Did it live up? Was it lacking? And stuff like that, I don't mind, but it's all in the name of trying to get into that algorithm. And God, algorithms. Let me tell you. Let me tell you, man, the algorithms, they got a hold of us. I know a camping channel that has 780K subs, and he said he got to pack up and get back to a full-time job. What the F? That's crazy. I mean, I guess it depends on what the viewership is like. 780K subs, that's a lot, man. That's close to 1 million. Did you see some YouTubers are giving up on memberships because videos for members are appearing in the normal section and it's bloating the video section? I think I came across a couple things on Twitter of like people talking about that. I didn't even know that actually. Guys, is that happening for you? Is I didn't even know that. You're telling me it's showing up? And Michael Werneth, he came in early. This is how much faith he has in you guys. We're 4 likes away from hitting 150. Michael comes in and drops 20 more member gifts for you guys. W's in the chat for Michael. Not only is he supporting the channel and giving you guys some membership gifts, but he's trying to help it on the next level by getting more likes. So, Mr. Werneth,
Holy shit.
thank you once again, man.
This is an incredibly exciting time for PlayStation.
I can't help but laugh every time I play that Herman Holst soundbite. Sammy Kid says, never gonna get it. Hang in there, man. You might. Dillo, maybe next time. Well, thank you so much, Michael, for the 20 membership gifts. That actually brought us up to 45. So, guys, we are 5 away from hitting the second goal. So, Michael sets you up for that. And we're still, guys, I will not accept this. We need 2 more likes right now. Right now. Ghetto God, you're saying, yeah, they show up, but you can't watch. So hold on, Ghetto God, you're telling me that that doesn't sound good. You guys hear that? Is that coming through the mic? It's like really loud. Holy shit. Ghetto God, I was going to ask, you're telling me that when you're not a member, it's just putting the members' content there? Oh, nothing's coming through for you? Oh, okay, what's good? A lot of channels, the member-only vids are on the main page, so some creators don't like that. It's putting people off. Huh. CJ, longtime member, 52 months. He says, hey, MBG, it's Mepsic. I changed my name to CJ on everything. Just a heads up. Hope all is well. Well, thank you for letting me know. I was like, I'm looking at you, and you're a member for 52 months. Surely I would recognize the name. Your name is actually CJ. Okay. You just want to be yourself. I respect it, man. And Zombie Dragon comes in and drops the 5 member gifts to get us to the 50 mark. So Zombie Dragon does it, and he makes he's making sure that we hit that second goal. And with that, we'll do some reps at the end of the stream, guys. All right, I got my dumbbells here. We'll do reps at the end of the stream. Remind me if I forget, though, because sometimes I just straight up forget. I'm not gonna lie. It's not cool. I don't mean to. But I just forget. I'm like so focused on doing the outro that I'm like, oh, wait, I didn't do the reps. So remind me at the end. We'll make sure we get them in. And Zombie Dragon, thank you for another 5 membership gifts. And big shout out to the community. We hit both of our goals. If you guys want to continue that, if you want to get us further, if you want to go to 60, 75, beyond that, by all means, continue to do so. Like I said, we are doing a Morning with the Misses this Friday. It's going to be a Halloween special, apparently. Apparently. We do have a Richrod song, by the way. He sent me one yesterday, so we'll probably play that later. But yeah, if you get gifted a membership, look forward to the members' content. And CJ, again, thank you for the milestone chat, buddy, and thank you for letting me know that you were previously Mepsic. So I definitely know who you are now. And Garrett Green, a member for 24 months, says 2 years. Holy shit. Garrett is shocked. He's shocked. It's been 2 years, man. Yeah, that's crazy. Where's the time go? And Major Xanarkin Blitzer comes in and he says we are going to keep the member train going, even if it's just with some singles. He drops another single membership gift for you guys. Xanarkin, thank you so much for that. And I will add that to the goal. And on top of that, we have Dillo408. He comes in and says, I'm actually just going to become a member, which I appreciate. Shout out to all of my members, you guys using your milestone chats. Those of you just deciding you're not going to wait for a gift, you're just going to renew it. I appreciate that. That's okay, Irfan. I almost read it that way too, but I've seen him in the chat enough times to know that's not what it says. So, but Irfan, you got what's going on, man? What's on your mind? Dillo, thank you for that, man. That brings us up to 52 members. So really, really appreciate that support. And yeah, keep in mind, if you do renew your membership or if you get a member gift, you don't have to just wait for the upcoming members content. Keep in mind, you have access to the previous members content as well. We did a morning with the missus last Friday. You could go check that out. It was nearly 3 hours long. And the only thing I've been lacking with here is some members gameplay, but you will have more of that coming in the future. So we got some members lounges, some morning with the missus. And when it comes to the whole situation with, you know, people getting annoyed at members content showing up on, I guess, the YouTube page, and some content creators are getting annoyed by that because, you know, I guess it's what did you say? They're getting annoyed with it because it's like flooding the zone. I guess it's becoming too much. It's overwhelming. I could see that. I could totally understand why people would be annoyed by that. I mean, as a content creator, I worry about that too. And I guess I never really thought of that. Saying read my last, hold on, let me see if I can find it. YouTube put something out, I think. They think it's better to advertise what memberships get you, but it just bloats the channel. Oh, okay. Yeah. That makes sense. Do you think you can give me a seltzer, please? That's pretty good. I'm trying not to have afternoon coffee anymore. I hear you. I'm trying to be good and just drink tea, you know, non-caffeinated tea. Was that the assistance? Yeah, I had to help Mrs. MBG open up her new creamer. I've never tried smelling salts, and I don't know that I would want to. I've seen videos of people doing that. But yeah, so I know we're getting a little bit off track here, but when it comes to YouTube, I think YouTube wants to push members content. They do. YouTube seems to be getting a little bit more serious with trying to, thank you, make improvements to the streams or just streaming in general. And a big part of that is members content. But just memberships in general, you know, for video content too. I don't know. I don't know how to, I don't know what the solution is. I mean, I feel like, yeah, it definitely causes too much bloat on the channel. Yeah, Patreon is always an option. I've considered that as well, but I don't know. I mean, YouTube added this new feature where they let me do a countdown timer to just move from a regular stream to a member stream. And I'm like, that's actually awesome. Like, it moves all of my members that are on the stream with me to the member stream rather than them having to look for a separate stream. But I'd get the sense that YouTube is pushing members content more. But yeah, I could kind of understand why it's like, well, there's a lot of people that no matter what, they're just not going to be members. They're just not going to be members, you know? Your face is numb after the anesthetics. You had multiple doses of anesthesia. Or maybe you're talking about, I don't think that's anesthesia. Or maybe it is. I forget what it's called. There's a different name for it. But yeah, it numbs your entire face. Makes your face feel all fat. That's the worst. I'm sorry to hear that, Tarnish, but I'm glad you could still show up. Hopefully this will ease some of the pain. I'm not sure what the percentage is, Dillo. I think it's like 30%, something like that, or maybe that's higher. You would think, yeah, I think it's 30%. I'm pretty sure. I don't think it's changed. I think it's 30%. MBG, streaming wise, YouTube is by far the worst and way, way behind the likes of Twitch or even Kick for how new it is. The chat is so far behind. Yeah, I've heard that, man, and that depresses me because like this is where my audience is. But I don't know. It's hard for me to think about moving away from YouTube, you know? But I've thought about it, like, because that's what I've been told, like, over and over and over again, that like all these other streaming places are like way ahead. And I'm not from like there's stuff that people tell me about with these different streaming sites where I'm like, I didn't even know that was a thing. Um, but one of the things that Streamlabs is pushing pretty aggressively is multi-streaming. And I tried this one time with Twitch, and I might try it again. Man, it's going to be hard though, because like the biggest thing I had a problem with is I am so used to looking at YouTube's chat. Keep in mind, I've been doing this for years on YouTube. My brain associates streaming with YouTube chat. When I tried to do a multi-stream, it changed. It combines the chats, but it completely changes the look. And oh man, it messed me up. It messed me up so bad where I'm like, I'm just struggling. And granted, maybe I should have just pushed through it and I should have just kept going and I would have gotten used to it. But I will tell you, like, they're getting very serious about, like, we want you to stream everywhere. And when I look at Streamlabs, when I set my streams up, if I wanted to, it's like I could toggle everything. I'm going to stream on Twitch. I'm going to stream on Twitter. I'm going to stream on YouTube. I just don't know. I don't know how I would, as one person, like manage all that and keep all that together without getting totally overwhelmed. But I don't know. I'm just thankful that for what I do on YouTube, considering this is the only place I really operate like this, you know, you guys still show up. People know where to find me, generally speaking. How many Yotei members have I killed? I've taken out 3 so far. So I'm halfway there. YouTube tried to catch up by paying certain Twitch streamers to bag an exclusive on YouTube. All of them are now back on Twitch. I mean, I've heard such good things about Twitch. Well, I mean, I've heard bad things about Twitch too, but just generally speaking, and how like it seems like it's just the culture is different on Twitch, from my understanding. Towards YouTube, it is still more video oriented. Twitch is just completely streaming oriented. So there's I guess what I'm trying to say is like there's audiences of people on Twitch and specifically that probably don't even go to YouTube, or they certainly don't even think about YouTube when it comes to streaming. And I've thought about this. I'll think about it. I'll see if maybe I push a little bit more to try to expand beyond beyond YouTube. I'm afraid to do it though, man, because I don't think I'm afraid that I'm not going to stay committed to it. I'm afraid I did that last time and I felt really bad where like I was telling people like go follow me on Twitch, and then after like 2 weeks of doing it, I'm like I'm not doing this anymore. I'm sorry, guys. Irfin, what are you good today, Irfin? Bro's feeling a certain way today. Twitch is trash, but if anything, multi-stream. What is streaming on Twitter like? Serious question. Like I apparently you can stream on Twitter and it's built into my Streamlabs, and I'm only asking because I have 74,000 followers on. I forget how many. I have 70 something thousand followers on Twitter, and I'm like, would it be? How do like? Is it even monetized? I don't. Yeah, Yeah, right. That's exactly what I'm like, dude, I think you'd have to pay me. Like like Twitter would have to pay me to stream there cuz it just seems like, well, get your hazmat suit on, bro. It just seems like a lot. I don't know. The only I don't follow many people on Twitter, but the only account that I follow that does stream on Twitter is Insider Gaming. They do like a weekly podcast, I think, and I get a notification that they go live. And I don't know how it's monetized. Like I don't know if they do gifts or whatever. That's crazy. Yeah, I saw the Moist Critical one where he said he made like $35 million. You're telling me that was just off of ads or something? What? That's wild. I mean, I see there's some kind of there's like some drama going on with Twitch right now with TwitchCon or whatever. The CEO is under a lot of fire. I feel like there's always some crazy drama going on with Twitch. Luna, you good? Don't attack her. Anyway, sorry I got a little bit off topic here. We'll see. You know, for now I'm just gonna keep flowing on YouTube because it's what I know, it's what I'm comfortable with. But believe me when I tell you, behind the scenes, places like Streamlabs and many others, they're trying to encourage people to do multi-streaming, to go to these other places and at least experiment. Maybe we'll do that in the future. I just don't want to bite off more than I can chew because I've done that so many times and I always end up letting people down and I don't like doing that. I don't want to overpromise and underdeliver. So, no promises, but I'll be here. I'll be on YouTube no matter what. We'll just see what we end up doing beyond this in time. That's true. Yeah, it's forgotten in a week. Yeah, so didn't talk too much about the Ghost of Yotei DLC, but we'll come back to it and we'll close it out. I'm imagining what Devil Shooter's timestamps are going to look like here because it's a bit all over the place. But do you think? Because here's the question I have: like, we know that we're getting the multiplayer Legends mode for Yotei. The thing that we don't know about the Legends mode for Yotei, the thing that we don't know is whether or not it's going to be supported, right? I mean, I think it's safe to say they'll probably have a couple weeks, maybe a couple months worth of updates. But I guess what I'm trying to ask is, do we think Legends mode is going to be supported in the same way that the first one was for Tsushima? Because that did get a pretty decent amount of support, but it didn't really, they kind of cut it off. We're like, this isn't a live service. We're just going to stop now. Do we think they're going to do that again? Or do we think that they might actually try to expand Legends a little bit further out this time? I don't know. The way Sucker Punch has been talking, I'm thinking they're going to handle Legends mode the exact same way they did the first time around. That's the big thing I'm surprised about, Garrett, is they're not adding PvP duels. I feel like that is the most, you know, it's like the easiest win. Maybe it's more complex than I realize, but I mean, if you look at like the one-on-one duels in Tsushima and Yotei, it feels like, man, just let me do that with another player. I feel like that could be, that could take off. That could be a pretty significant PvP multiplayer potentially, or aspect of the multiplayer. Maybe they will add that. Maybe that's what they're going to expand upon. But yeah, that's the thing. It does seem like it would be hard to balance. Maybe they've thought of it. Maybe they tried it and it just wasn't working. But I don't know that I would be against Sucker Punch not doing a traditional DLC like they did with the Icky Island for Tsushima. I just say this because I don't know. I think I'd rather see more support for Legends more than anything. I'd rather see them take the time and effort that they would have put into a standalone DLC or an extra DLC and put that into extending Legends, adding more content to Legends, and let that live for a longer period of time. Um, and yeah, again, whatever they're gonna do after that, I I'm thinking they're probably gonna do Ghost 3, but I could see them maybe saying we're just gonna do something brand new. They're just gonna say screw it. I don't. She's being really weird. I don't know what she's doing. Yeah, she does. She's been like climbing up and down the chair, acting like she wants to attack Leia. Which weapon do I like the most in Yotei? It's a good question, Orphan. I haven't really talked about that much. I find myself using the spear, I think, more than anything. Also, I mean, I like the dual katana. I like the way the dual katanas feel. The only thing I don't like is how I feel kind of underpowered with the dual katanas most of the time. The Kurosagama has been pretty fun to use as well, but I think that more than anything, I feel kind of like I understand now what they meant when they said like you can use whatever weapon you want. Yeah, I like to poke, right? You can use whatever weapon you want and whatever feels good to you to use. You can use it. You can get through the whole game, but you definitely can feel how fights are more drawn out and more of a struggle than they otherwise would need to be if you were switching the weapons. Did I say that wrong? Kusarigama. Dual katanas. How the F do you even use to accurately? Dude, the dual katanas, like the move set on them looks so awesome. The Odachi, yeah, I have to say the Odachi is probably my least used. It if I use it in circumstances where I'm supposed to, it feels useful, but it's very slow. It's very, very slow. And, you know, I sometimes like that feeling of every hit I land is going to do some kind of, if not damage, it's going to break their posture more or wear them down a lot. But yeah, man, it's super slow. And every time I try to use it, I'm like, I'm just getting sliced up. I'm just losing like half my health just to get one swing in. Um, you kind of have to rely on parrying or perfect dodges if you want to swap weapons. Pretty much, yeah. Like if you can do perfect parries and perfect dodges, you can effectively use every weapon, and it's almost like you won't feel the difference. But I don't know. I think one of the reasons I've been enjoying the Yari so much though is because I've upgraded that the most. So even though I use it against certain enemy types where it's not the most effective because it's so powerful or so upgraded, it still does like a lot of damage, and I can take out enemies like 2 hits. So it just feels good because of that. I haven't unlocked rifles yet, by the way. That's like the last thing I have to unlock, and I'm surprised it's taking this long. And I'm curious to see how that feels. Probably like an extension of the using the bow and arrow currently, but one of my favorite additions, I have to say though, one of my favorite additions, I've talked about this briefly before, is, and I'm curious to see if they implement this. Well, I assume they will implement this. I say I'm curious, but they definitely will implement this into Legends, and I'm just excited for it because it just is. It feels so good when you just pick up these weapons and throw them. It's like one of the best feelings in the game where it's just like, oh, there's a spear on the ground. I'm gonna pick it up and boom, I just impaled that guy. Done. I had 6 enemies to worry about. Now I only got 5. Like, and it feels good to have these like to have that versatility. It adds like a yeah, the sake. You can throw the sake jars, which is great. That's always fun. And I feel like even though it seems like such a small addition, it feels great, Shems. It feels fantastic. It's such a small addition, but really when you're in the heat of combat and you're taking on a whole group of enemies, small things like that go a long way. And it doesn't, it is exactly. It's very satisfying. It's like, oh, I could have fought that guy and, we could have traded blows and it could have taken a whole, 25 seconds for me to kill them. But I'm just going to pick up this katana and throw it across the freaking, you know, the valley here and they're done. Feels very good. You use the armor that increases weapon drops. Which armor is that, Mr. B? I haven't been paying too much attention to the armor. I unlocked an armor through a storyteller quest that I thought looked really cool. But then I found the black dye woman, and there's this black dye set, I guess you can get for your main armor. And I'm like, oh, dude, this looks sick. So I'm still wearing like the original armor. It's upgraded. You upgrade it as you progress. But Irfan, I'm so sorry, man. Irfan's gonna kill me. Dude, I keep making the same mistake. So here's what I'll do. I'm gonna open up a separate tab. Irfan hates me. He's like, MBG won't watch my good stuff. He won't watch the good stuff that I want to send him. I'm sorry, Irfan. Okay, I have it up on a separate tab. So when I exit out of this one, when I'm done, I was like, there ain't no way, man. I can't get a membership gift. I can't even become a member. Now you're going to do this to me? I'm sorry. I have it up on a separate tab, though. So when I instinctively exit out of these tabs that I have up, when we're done streaming, that one will still be up. And when I come back and I'm like, oh, what's this doing here? I'll be like, oh, yes, this is that short film that I was supposed to watch. So I got you. Irfan. But yeah, I enjoy continuing to talk about Ghost of Yotei. It is a good game. I find that I enjoy Ghost of Yotei most playing it in bursts, though. I play it for longer chunks of time, but more spread out. And I don't know why. That's just the natural way I've been engaging with it. I've had numerous times. I don't know if maybe it's because I've been playing a lot of Battlefield. That probably has something to do with it, where like every time I have the time to boot up my PlayStation and I'm like, I'm going to decide what to play right now. The thing about playing Ghost of Yotei is because I like to play it in longer sessions, I find that if I can't commit to at least like an hour and a half or 2 hours without interruption, I'll usually just hop on Battlefield or something and be like, okay, I'll just get like one 20-minute round of Conquest in or something like that, or a TDM match, something like that. That's the way I've been playing Ghost of Yotei so far, and I think that's why it's taking so long, because I've been a little bit busy lately. I've had a lot of things kind of going on, so I've had numerous times where I'm like, I'm gonna boot up Yotei, but then it's like, are you even gonna have enough time to finish one mission? Because nothing feels more annoying to me than when I'm playing this game and then something comes and like I have to walk away from it and I have to exit out of it in the middle of a mission. Like, I hate that because I just don't like it. I don't know what it is. I don't like doing that. I think I played Death Stranding 2 very similarly. I will say with Death Stranding, though, the difference was I felt like, because like every time I do a mission in this game, because that's the thing, I'm trying to get through the story, I feel like it's going to take at least probably 30 minutes or so. And then once I finish that mission, there's a good chance I want to keep going. So there were definitely periods of time playing Ghost of Yotei that if I really wanted to know life it, like I could have had this game done in a couple days, but other areas of my life would have suffered greatly. So now I'm basically just taking it like 1 to 2 missions at a time, then doing some side content. And then that usually takes me a good 2.5 hours. And I'm like, okay, that's good. I'm going to put it down now because I'm probably going to get interrupted soon. I'm probably going to have to do something soon. I'll come back. I'll boot it up the next time I know I can dedicate another solid 2 hours uninterrupted. That's the interesting thing about Yotei I'm finding is this game, I don't... It's funny because you can pause it with anything you're doing, but I just don't, like, This is a game I like to play pretty uninterrupted. I don't know why that is. Is DS2 changing my perspective? What do you mean by that, Tarnished? Well, Irfan, I think I've settled on doing the spoiler cast once I platinum it, unless it really takes way too long. Like if I'm like 70 hours in and I'm still nowhere near the platinum, we'll just do the spoiler cast. But I don't know if PSN is down. I've been seeing some people saying, well, actually, not some people. I haven't been seeing people in my chat. I've been seeing like reports that the PSN is down or something. Whenever you want to discuss how you feel about Yotei, it always feels as though you're wrestling yourself into liking it as much as you thought you would, but can't. Maybe due to DS2. Amazon's web services are down. Oh, is that what it's connected to, I mean. Okay. Worldwide outage. What the hell's going on? Oh, man. How much money are they losing? That's not good. Everything is down. Only Twitter's working. Proof Satan is real. Proof of the end of times. Well, at least YouTube's working. But Tarnished, I don't know that I don't know that I would say I'm not liking Yotei as much as I expected to. I think you're correct in when you say maybe Death Stranding is impacting my experience with Yotei in that, like, I don't know, man. Like, Death Stranding 2 really still is the highlight of the year for me. And I think I underestimated it a little bit. Like, my hype was there for Death Stranding 2, but I didn't quite realize, like, dude, you liked Death Stranding 1 a lot. Like, I like Death Stranding 1 more than most people. I didn't understand how much I was truly going to like love Death Stranding 2. And it's weird because something else I didn't anticipate is you also don't know how this is going to impact the rest of the games you play this year. And Yotei being the other big PlayStation title, it's like, yeah, they're two very separate games, very separate experiences, but I just find myself sometimes being like, remember that one delivery you did in Death Stranding 2? Remember that time you had to climb up that snowy mountain and nearly died? Good times, you know? I'm like, wait, no, focus. You gotta, you gotta find this wolf den, bro. Am I playing any indie titles this year? No, dude. See, I was looking over at the games I played. I've definitely dropped. I don't know if I want to be easy on myself here. I want to be fair to myself. I look over my games list, the games I played, and I realize, like, dude, you don't play nearly as many games as you think you do. And I think there's a kind of disconnect in my brain somewhere where, like, I talk about so many games and I cover games. I cover games for a living and I cover gaming news for a living that sometimes it starts to almost bleed into, like, if you cover a game so much, it like it resides in the same place in your brain where it's like, well, yeah, it like feels like you played it. It's like, no, you didn't play that. You think you did. Like, you don't get what I'm saying? Like, it kind of scratches that itch a little bit where it's like, it feels like I played it, but I didn't. Like, I actually just covered it extensively. I talked about it. I watched gameplay of it. I brought a gameplay clip up on stream and watched it and dissected it with my audience. But it's like, you didn't play the game though, And it's weird because, like, when I look back at the games that I played this year, I'm like, I definitely didn't play that many games. Like, in my mind, it feels like I played way more than this. And then I actually count it. It's like, not many. Certainly not any indies, or not many indies if there's any there at all. And so I'm curious to see at the end of the year when I look back at everything I played, like, I guess what I'm saying is I'm prepared to find out that I, I've actually played a lot less games than I would have thought. Like, I'm not going to be proud to announce how many games I played. I could be wrong. I mean, maybe I'm forgetting stuff I played earlier in the year, but I remember the last time I looked it over, it was like maybe 2 months ago or something. I was like, really? Damn. But then there's also random stuff in there. We're like, wait, I played this? Huh. I forgot I played that. So it's a bit of a mixed bag. But I've been thinking about that, and yeah, I don't know. I sometimes I do think covering games as much as I do, it in a way kind of, I don't say it interferes. That's the wrong word, but it's like it creates a level of satiation. Is that a word? Satiation? I think that's a word. Sounds like a word. It makes me feel more satiated than I think I otherwise would if I didn't talk about games at all, if I didn't cover games at all. If gaming was only just, something that I did for a hobby, I think I would ultimately play more games that way, believe it or not. But yeah, I guess it's just kind of the nature of the beast. Titus, you were saying, as an artist for 30 years, I stopped doing personal art because it was the job. Yeah, I see. I always try not to veer in that direction where, like, I've thought about, like, forcing myself, like, you're gonna play these games, dude, no matter what, for the sake of doing this on my channel, like, for the sake of my channel. But I've always been very hesitant to do that simply because I do worry that, like, well, you know, how blurred are the lines getting at that point where, like, would you like, I have this kind of rule where it's like, don't play anything just for the sake of your channel. Purely, like, just purely like, where you have no interest. That's why, like, people have literally offered to pay me to play certain games. It's been rare, but it's been a thing. And I'm like, I don't know that I want to do that because it's literally just for it feels like it's crossing that kind of threshold of, I want my channel to be based on a natural my natural inclinations. And if it starts to deviate too far from that, yeah, what was that game that I forget which game William Aguilar. It's been a while since he's showed up here, but he was offering to pay me. He's like, "I'll give you however much you want, bro. Play this game." I forget which one it was though. It was an old one, a classic title, and I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, it'd be easy, I guess, to do that, but I don't want to, like, I don't know. I don't want to be like fraudulent in that way where it's like, yeah, this is great, man, because you paid. It's also why I probably couldn't get into Sekiro. Sekiro, I tried to play for the channel, and we saw how that went. And Titus with a super chat says, "It's tough when your love becomes your living." Yeah, and I'm trying to walk that balance, or walk that line, I guess you could say. There's no doubt that if I took a more quote unquote professional, approach to the channel, I think it would benefit the channel greatly. Hell, maybe even my audience would like that better, but I don't know, man. Like, the biggest thing I'm afraid of is losing my passion for gaming. That's my biggest fear. And I'm always careful with that. But MBG, you avoid playing legitimately good games for no reason. Maybe I do it just to annoy everybody. We do have some more topics to discuss, though, guys. We're not done the topics just yet. Make sure you're continuing to hit that like button. But there's also a lot that goes on out, and I know it sounds like an excuse, but I'm just being honest. Like, there's a lot that goes on outside of my channel and gaming. Like, I often sometimes find it funny how, like, wow, okay, I have a lot of things going on in my life at any one time that it's like, I wonder when things will slow down. And I suppose eventually they will. And maybe when those things slow down, it will just naturally open itself up to where it'll be much easier to play a lot more, right? Um, it's a complicated thing, ultimately, that if I really wanted to get into all the intricate details, Irfan, I would, but I'm pretty sure it'll cause a copyright. Don't worry. I swear, I'm going to watch it. Everyone's like, uh-huh. Whatever you say, bro. I've noticed that too, MBG. You do shepherd your love of games. I try. Like, I get worried sometimes because, like, excuse me. I get worried because one of the reasons I don't want to veer too much into the negative space, and we are going to talk about Resident Evil 0 Remake, and I have something else I want to talk about when it comes to Horizon. We are going to cover these topics, but before I move on to them, I just want to say that I always worry about, like, I've been talking about Microsoft for the past couple weeks, and believe me when I tell you, like, my channel is rewarded for being negative. It just is. Okay? Like, if I wanted to lean into shitting on companies, shitting on products, shitting on different games, shitting on different publishers, Microsoft drama with people, making it personal, all of these things benefit my channel greatly. And anytime I've engaged with them, I reap great rewards. I end up getting so annoyed though, because I'm like, this isn't why I'm here, you know? Or at least it's not supposed to be why I'm here. And I always get too far away from it. And it's easy. It's because it's all tempting, you know, like yell at things, get angry at things, focus on the rage bait, focus on the things that everybody's upset about, focus on the drama. And I'm not perfect. It's going to happen from time to time. But I noticed that, like, man, it's becoming more and more prevalent today, which I'm sure you guys see. And that makes me nervous because I'm like, I don't want this to become a bad thing. Because the whole reason I created this channel was because I was passionate about games. You know, I was passionate about sharing my interest for certain games I liked and, you know, things that I enjoyed, and, you know, this hobby that means so much to me that's been here my whole life. It's like, you got to take the good with the bad and the bad with the good. But now more than ever, truly, and believe me, I'm sure you guys already know this. You don't need to hear it from me, but take it from me. Now more than ever, you are rewarded for going in the negative directions. Everything's a problem. And if it's not a problem, you'll be rewarded for making it a problem. You know? Nobody's making you search for negative things about Xbox, bro. Well, that is true, Piper. Nobody's making me do anything, but it is particularly difficult. I have to admit, it is particularly difficult when, like let's just say tomorrow, for example. Let's say tomorrow there's like no PlayStation news. There's nothing. Like, I'm covering the last of the PlayStation news today. And tomorrow Microsoft comes out and says, like, our next console is going to be super mega expensive. So be prepared, right? It is like, there's just no way I can avoid covering that. Because here's the thing, even if I said, I'm not interested in Xbox, I don't care, that's cool, you do your thing, Microsoft. Everybody who comes to my channel will be like, bro, we want you to talk about, like, talk about this, right? And there's just some things that are unavoidable in that sense. I don't know if you guys remember, like, I didn't stream the Xbox show this year. I think some people forget, like, I didn't stream the Xbox showcase. And that was because, like, dude, believe me when I tell you, I lost a lot of money that day. Like, I gave up a lot of money by choosing, but that's the thing, is I asked myself, like, do you honestly want to watch this show? Are you, like, in other words, would you watch this show on your own? Or are you only going to watch it because you're going to get paid? Because you know people are going to show up and they're going to drop support. And I was honest with myself. I'm like, no, I'm not interested. Like I'm really not. Like it's not even in some like I hate Xbox. I hate Xbox. It's not like that. It's just literally like I didn't watch it on my own. I caught a few things on Twitter, and then later on I went back and I'm like, oh, okay. So they revealed the big end reveal was Call of Duty. And I went back and I saw some stuff, but I wasn't sat down watching it. And that was the big thing is that like this is where I'm trying to do like the right thing where it's like a business oriented person would say you're an idiot. Like absolutely stream the Xbox show because dude, and I know it's like we do it for fun. And I could justify anything I do with that. That truthfully, if I really wanted to, I could justify anything with that. And nobody would have a problem with me. But it was just more for myself where it's like I talked to you guys about how there's like console war drama and there's always some kind of drama going on in this space. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, it's only getting worse. I don't know how or why it's getting worse. It's sad to see, and it's getting more and more toxic. And there have been times where I've been completely engulfed by it, completely burned by it. And it gets to a point where it's like, bro, I really I really hope that I have enough good people here to support me for the right reasons, where I'm not saying that I expect anybody to be here. I don't, but it's just the reason I would hope anybody tunes into my content because they're interested to talk about games with me and certain aspects of the gaming industry. Not because, that's why I get really turned off by it's like the easiest thing in the world for me to do. The easiest thing where it's like, do it. Do it. Don't you want more viewership? Is let me scream about Nintendo. Let me make a video titled, "Hey, the Xbox ROG Ally isn't really an Xbox, it's junk," or something like that. Like that's the easiest thing in the world. Or even for Sony, where it's like Sony is not the same anymore. Just stuff like that. But what does it all signal? It all signals that like, bro, why are you here then? You're not happy. You're miserable. You're angry. Oh, wait, that's right. You're here yelling and being angry and upset because that's what brings in the views and the money. Right. And I have no problem, no ill will towards anybody who does that. It's everywhere. My problem isn't personal. It's just, it's about me. It's about being able to look in the mirror and ask myself, like, how do you feel about what you did today? And I'll be honest, man, anytime it's like I'm raging and it's a shit show and everything sucks and everybody's angry and I'm like, I just want to go in my basement and lift some weights and listen to some Soundgarden, man. Like, I don't even want to deal with any of this. It starts to make me feel disconnected from gaming. It makes me feel the opposite of connected. It makes me feel like, listen, man, you either don't care about games anymore, you're not passionate about them anymore, you don't care about PlayStation, you don't care about any of this, or you're getting lost in stuff that's more tantalizing from a superficial standpoint. And I realize that it's like, yeah, I'm getting lost in the superficial in the superficial aspects of it, but it's easy for me to say this right now because it's like I said, if tomorrow Microsoft came out and said the next Xbox is going to be $900, guys, it's like, well, there's today's topic. You know what I mean? And it ain't going to be a good one. And that's just, like I could say, no, that's not today's topic. I'm here to talk to you about my love of Resident Evil Outbreak. And that I could do that. I could do that instead. I absolutely could do that. But a lot of people are going to be like, bro, we really, like, what are you talking about? Like, didn't you hear the news? And it's like, let me tell you about Kevin Ryman. It's a balancing act, man. I can't I'm not trying to be holier than thou. I'm not in the position. I'm not. If I was rich, dude, if I was rich and money was not a thing, you guys would love the way I did things, because it would just, not saying you don't love it now, but it's just like, well, frankly, I'd probably, I probably would be like, hey, let's talk about, um, Metal Gear Solid for the 10th time in a row. Okay. Like, this is stream number 10 in a row on Metal Gear Solid. Now, granted, there are people here who would absolutely support that. But I'm just saying, it's, I'm trying to grow the channel. I am trying to succeed. I think everybody sees that. I'm not trying to hide that. I'm not trying to pretend that none of this matters to me. I wish I could pull a Moist Critical and be like, I'm going to disable all donations because I don't need it. That would be fantastic. But, I'm not in that position. But I'm trying to walk that balance where it's like, I want to do what feels right for me. And I want this to be as honest as it possibly can be. But I also want to do right by my audience. So it's about walking that line. And I have to admit, sometimes it's very difficult. Like, I do think to myself, like, did I make a big mistake not streaming that Xbox show this year? I don't think I did. But when I made that decision, I was definitely nervous. Like, are people going to be really mad at me? Some people were upset. They were like, bro, where were you? Like, we wanted to hang out. And I do feel a little bit bad in that sense. But I'm like, I'm like, it's one of those things where it's like, I don't think I'm going to have much good to say. And I don't want to feed the trolls by being like, hey, if you tell me you're just an Xbox hater and that's the only reason you're here, I don't want it to turn into something that can be misconstrued and manipulated to, like, okay, now what they're saying is being perceived as true. If it doesn't have to be, you know what I mean? Do another abandoned stream and you'll see over 1K people. Oh my God, dude. I'm waiting for something one day, Irfin, to come out where it's like, here we are. The great abandoned real-time experience update. That was a good time. See, that was like the most unhinged I ever became. But it was driven. Like, I enjoyed that so much. Maybe I enjoyed it too much, I'll be honest. I think I went too deep in that rabbit hole, man. But looking back on it, it's like, it was so cool because it was driven by the passion of, like, we're all waiting for something great to come out of this. And it was disappointing when nothing came out of it. But it was the memories we made along the way, right? The friends and the memories we made along the way. That is cursed, bro. You were watching it at 3 a.m. That's absolutely cursed. Anyway, I didn't mean to go on a giant tangent there. It's just, thank you for letting me vent a little bit. It's difficult navigating these YouTube and social media waters, man, when it's not good weather. It's the waves are getting high, and I'm just trying to make it. I'm just trying to survive, man. MBG, the amount of grift and rage bait around Pokemon AZ is absolutely ridiculous. Literal brain damage. All YouTubers are jumping on it without having played the series at all. I mean, that's the thing, dude. People use the term grift. The term grift means to engage in small-scale swindling. And on social media, it is an applicable term. It depends upon where it's being used, but the idea that somebody jumps onto something, I'm going to start talking about this. I don't know anything about it, nor do I care about it. Maybe I only have a very faint history with it, but I'm going to treat it like something I deeply care about in order to court, it's the rage bait. I want to get all the deep, passionate fans that are angry and exploit them and make money off of them. That, unfortunately, years ago, I don't know how many years ago, maybe it was 3, maybe it was 6, not exactly sure when it happened. but people realize, like, holy shit, this works. Like, this is what's going to grow my channel. Like, this is what's going to get me views. This is what's going to make me money. People do that in politics as well. I mean, God, it's oh my God, it's the worst with politics, but it's everywhere. And the reason why I don't feel I have my opinions on that, I don't care to judge it though, because I get it, man. People are just trying to, if I'm being, I guess you could say, more positive MBG, more positive version of myself, I'll just say people are just trying to survive. People are trying to do what they got to do. Who am I to judge? You know, like truly, I mean, really, it's like, who am I? I'm just a person. But, you know, I do have my feelings on it and I do have my opinions. And don't worry, I'm not saying you guys won't ever get rants. I'm not saying that. It's just that it's more about what I say rather than how I say it. I don't want, like, if I want to make this a wrestling promo, we could do that. And that could be fun. But if I mean what I say, and what I'm saying is coming from a place of passion, it's going to be more about what I'm saying, how I'm saying it. You know, like those things are going to have to work in conjunction to where one isn't taking away from the other. One isn't distracting from the other. And this is what, you know, this is too much of what's going on these days where people, exactly. Judge Dredd MBG deliver the rants of justice. Absolutely. I mean, dude, listen, if it really gets down to it, I will create characters. Okay? If it gets to that point, MBG might end up just being one of many characters. No promises. Not saying that's what I plan on doing, but I just have to keep my consideration. I have to consider different options and keep my options open. Because things are getting crazy out here, dude. Like that's the thing. Can I create an MBG with hair? Well, we kind of did. But yeah, maybe we could. We could. Things are getting crazy out here, man. You see it as a good thing. People just want someone to voice their opinion and people congregate on shared opinions. And that's true. That's true. You know, there's a reason why these things exist in the way that they do, why they're so prolific. And there's nothing wrong. I guess the idea of that Mystic Dragon is not wrong. It's when you get into the weeds of it. What exactly are their opinions? What exactly are you congregating to, you know, to, what is this congregation in the name of? And I think that's when things start to look, frankly, kind of spooky. And, you know, I recognize things very quickly and I don't like it. I don't like it. Maybe this is just a different version of me speaking right now. Whatever version of me that is speaking right now, it's the version that wants to do better, you know, a version that has hope, a version that is not being so doomer and is like, you know what, I want to live a better life. Not always like that. I don't think anybody is like that 24/7. It's impossible, but that's how I feel right now. I hope I don't have multiple personality disorder, but hey, if I do, my idea of having different characters, there we go. Who knows? Maybe 3 years from now, I will be the most entertaining YouTuber on the planet. You never know where things might go. But I'm just glad I have you guys by my side, hanging out with me. And I really feel a little bit bad right now because I meant to cover the rest of the topics before I had this discussion. So when you look at the timestamps, there's basically going to be 2 topics. There's going to be the intro, 2 topics, whatever this was, and then another topic or 2. So an intermission, I guess. Little side quest. MBG equals multiple bad guys. It's like Until Dawn. Butterfly effect. Great game, by the way. Yo, if you're on PlayStation Plus Extra and you haven't played Until Dawn, you should try it. I really enjoyed it. I played that last year. Got the platinum. Enjoyed it way more than I thought I would. All right. Guys, with that being said, At work, I pretend to be other people. That's okay, I guess. I don't know if that's okay, Hanzo, but hey, man, you do you. All right. We do have another topic we're going to talk about. Um, we have a new report regarding the next batch of Resident Evil remakes. Now, you guys know I'm a big Resident Evil fan, and I like to cover anything we get, usually with Resident Evil, usually the upcoming games. You guys know how excited I am for Resident Evil 9 and Requiem, and I know a lot of you guys are very excited for it as well. But apparently we're finding out, if I understand this correctly, we're finding out basically the pipeline of Resident Evil games potentially between 2026 and 2028. So this is a report coming from MP First, which shout out to MP First. We've been covering them a little bit more. They've been doing some good work. They've been doing some digging, getting some actual scoops, getting some information from sources, and they've been doing that for PlayStation as well. So just want to give them a little shout out for yeah, they're doing good. They're doing good, Irfan. You see. Um Ray, you're saying you're pissed that RE0 is the last one that's being made, but the only upside is that it will look better than the others because it will be a PS6 game. Yeah, we're going to talk about that. So the report here says, I'm sorry, I don't know what's going on with my throat these days. The change in weather. Following the huge success of the Resident Evil remakes, it's no surprise that Capcom continues to work on more projects remaking classic entries. Among the most requested titles for current gen treatment are the acclaimed 2000 spinoff. I think this is a bit of a hold on. Yeah, they say are the acclaimed 2000 spinoff focusing on Claire Redfield, Code Veronica, and the GameCube prequel Resident Evil Zero. Fortunately for fans, the existence of both projects has been repeatedly corroborated by reliable sources, suggesting we will see them in the near future. We can now confirm that Resident Evil Zero Remake is indeed a reality, and we were able to gather some details about the project, including additions to the plot, casting, and information regarding its development. So, by the way, I want to point this out too for those wondering about MP First. The last time we covered MP First, I believe, was they gave us a report regarding Wolverine. And this was prior to us getting the Wolverine trailer. They said that Wolverine is confirmed for 2026, and we're going to be seeing the trailer. So they corroborated what Tom Henderson said. But the more interesting thing that MP First revealed is they confirmed the Venom game. They said the Venom game is real, and it's going to be focusing on Eddie Brock. And it's coming. Well, they didn't give a release year, but it seems like it's going to be coming after Wolverine, probably in 2027. So just putting that out here because the more things that MP First gets correct, the more we can kind of vouch for them and rely on them without having to take the biggest grain of salt, right? So they were correct about the Wolverine thing most recently. We'll see if they're correct about Venom. And I think they're correct about this because we've heard about these upcoming Resident Evil remakes from multiple sources. They say here, similar to what has been reported by reputable insiders, we have been told that the Resident Evil Zero remake is a project that has been in development for a few years now. The title has been worked on under the code name Chamber, which works as a clever pun referencing the last name of protagonist Rebecca Chambers, and the voice and performance capture work with new actors for the leads would have begun at some point in 2024. One of the actors joining this new cast is John McLaren, known for playing Star-Lord in the 2021 game adaptation of Guardians of the Galaxy, which is an extremely underrated game, by the way. I have the platinum for that. And for his roles in Far Cry 5. We know this thanks to the mention on the actor's resume, where Project Chamber is listed as one of his lead projects and is noted as a lead role. Additionally, this project, overseen by Beyond Capture Studios, a motion capture company that has previously collaborated with Capcom on games such as Resident Evil 4 Remake and Street Fighter 6. Taking into account that the actor is a lead on the project, it's probable that John McLaren is the actor responsible for playing Billy Cohen, the co-protagonist of Resident Evil Zero, alongside Rebecca Chambers. With these casting details, we can likely rule out any return of the original game's voice actors, even though recasting is a common practice within the Resident Evil remakes. Now, in terms of plot, the remake is expected to expand upon the source material, although the core story will remain the same. Another common characteristic of RE remakes. Before continuing, we must warn you of minor plot spoilers. The following example details new additions for the remake, which is why we are refraining from sharing other major story beats that would give away too much. So, I mean, I didn't read this part in my video just because, I don't think it was necessary. I'll read it here though because I mean, it's an old game. I haven't played Resident Evil 0, by the way. This is one of the only Resident Evil games I haven't played. So, they say here one of these new storylines, or sorry, let me try that again. I'm stroking out here. One of these new storylines would involve the initial segment of the game set on the train, specifically concerning the train conductor. In the original game, this character is never seen and is only referenced via his office on the train, but in the remake, he will take on a slightly larger role. We can detail that one of these scenes involving this character has him asking Rebecca for help to stop the train's acceleration, only to end up betraying her by locking her in with a bunch of zombies so he can escape. Following this, we would not see him again until reaching a later zone in the game, where Rebecca would find him interacting with another mysterious, unnamed character who appears to have previous knowledge of the general situation and clearly plays an important role in the plot. Those familiar with the lore may already have an idea of who this mysterious individual could be, but they will also be aware that none of these plot elements were present in the original game. Therefore, we would expect a more cinematic structure for the storyline. Interestingly, despite having all of these details, everything indicates that we still have some time until we see this remake, as recent statements from reliable insider Dust Golem suggested that we would first see Resident Evil Code Veronica remake launching sometime in Q1 2027, while the Resident Evil 0 remake aims for a 2028 release. So, yeah, that's quite a bit of information regarding Resident Evil 0 remake, but I mean, what do you think? Tarnish, yeah, I guess you're a little bit behind. I do appreciate that with your comments regarding the last thing we were talking about. I do appreciate that, Tarnished. So I gotta ask you guys, what do you think about this release timeline? Because I mean, everything we're hearing about the Resident Evil 0 remake, I have to be honest, everything that was just discussed about the story and some plot details doesn't mean anything to me because I haven't played the game yet. When I play the remake, it'll be my first time experiencing it. I'm assuming it'll be similar to maybe like what we saw with Resident Evil 3. But the real thing I'm focused on here is the release timeline, where it seems pretty clear to me that Resident Evil 9 is 2026, Resident Evil Code Veronica X remake is 2027, which also could be a PS6 title. And then it's kind of what Ray said a moment ago, Resident Evil 0 is coming in 2028. So these last two remakes, or the next two, not the last two, but the next two remakes we're getting from Resident Evil could both end up being PlayStation 6 games. They will obviously release on PS5. The real question is if they'll release on PS6, PS5, and PS4, given the timing of when these games are coming. But yeah, 2028, 100% will be a PS6 game with Resident Evil 0. What are we thinking? Like, are we liking this timeline or this release timeline of Resident Evil 9 in 2026, then Code Veronica 2027, then 0 in 2028. That sounds pretty good to me. And I imagine they probably have more beyond those remakes that they're working on in the Resident Evil series, because they always have multiple things cooking for Resident Evil at any one time. I wonder if they're like, my whole thing is, where's the multiplayer? Right? Where's the because you know they haven't given up on Resident Evil multiplayer. They're always trying to do something with Resident Evil multiplayer. So we have the 3 like single player games seemingly confirmed through multiple inside sources for the next 3 years. The only thing missing is the multiplayer game. You know they got a Yo, you want to know one of the most random platinum trophies I have? I have the platinum trophy for that multiplayer game. Not REverse. It's the one that came with Resident Evil 3 Remake. I have Concords too. Perfect. Yeah. But whatever the Resident Evil multiplayer game was called that shipped with Resident Evil 3 Remake, I have the platinum for that. That was really fun. Resistance. There we go. That was the one. Yeah. It was like an asymmetrical multiplayer. And that was really good. It didn't last too long, though, but I got the platinum for that. And I'm proud of it. Good times, man. Good times. But yeah, I'm pretty excited, I have to say. Like, I feel like Capcom, if this lineup is true, Resident Evil 9, Veronica, Code Veronica Remake, and Resident Evil 0 Remake. I did play Code Veronica, although I never played it like all the way through. I've seen the ending of the game played by somebody else, and then I went back and played the majority of it myself, but I never had just like one straight line playthrough. So I'm excited to see that remade, and that's a big one. That's a really big one. People have been dying to see Code Veronica remade. I'm just super interested in the idea that they're doing Code Veronica before Resident Evil 0, because everything we've heard is that the more experienced remake team is apparently working on Code Veronica. The team that did Resident Evil 2 Remake and Resident Evil 4 Remake is doing Code Veronica. And the team that did RE3 Remake, if I understand correctly, is doing the Resident Evil 0 Remake. So that one, I guess that is kind of how it goes, right? Because you get RE2, then 3. 3's not as good. They're truly going to act like 5 is not a thing. I don't know what they're going to do with Resident Evil 5. That one, dude, I don't blame Capcom. You already know there's going to be so much drama around it. Like, no matter what they do, they're in between a rock and a hard place. And it's stupid. It shouldn't be that way. Like, just, you know what I mean? Like, people should just, this is the game. It is what it is. Enjoy it. You know, people were being nonsensical about it back when it originally came out. They're going to definitely be nonsensical about it if there's a remake. Would they ever remake Resident Evil 6? I don't think so. Does anybody really want that? A Resident Evil 5 remake, I understand. But 6, I don't know about that. I agree with that. Major Xanarkind Blitzer. I agree. There's nothing wrong with Resident Evil 5, dude. I mean, maybe like change the boulder. I don't know. Keep the boulder punches. Dude, I was laughing so hard because I saw this image from the Resident Evil 9 trailer, and it was that quick shot image they show in the very first reveal trailer where it's like the blast zone where the nuke dropped on Raccoon City, and somebody was like, this is where Chris Redfield punched the ground. I don't know why. It's just so stupid. You enjoyed Resident Evil 6 in co-op? Well, I think it's sounding pretty good. I gotta be honest. It's sounding pretty good. Oh, nice. She got a new toy. Luna got a new toy. Luna. add more boulder punches. I mean, if you're going to remake Resident Evil 5, you definitely need to add more boulder punches. It could only enhance the experience. I'm still waiting, though. You guys know, I'm still waiting for that Leon reveal for Resident Evil 9. We all know it's happening. Game Awards. Interestingly, though, don't forget, Resident Evil 9 pre-orders go live on October 29th, I believe. So, yeah, Tarnish, there's the answer right there. How funny would that be, though? I mean, God, people would lose their minds, but it would be so funny if it would be so funny if Capcom was like, okay, we're gonna remake Resident Evil 5. It's literally gonna be a different game, different setting, different story, same characters. Everything's changing. It would be so funny to see how people would react to that, because it would. You see what I'm saying? Like, they have to decide. They have to decide what's going to cause less pandemonium. I feel like they lose either way. Here we go. So that's going to wrap up our discussion for Resident Evil, but here's a little aside. Charlie Intel reports Call of Duty was the most played game in the US on PS5 and Xbox Series X and S for the week ending October 11th during the Black Ops 7 beta. Battlefield 6 debuted in terms of players at number 12 on PS5 and number 8 on Xbox 24 hours after its launch. So what do we make of this? For the week ending Saturday, October 11th, and Battlefield dropped on the 10th, so it only had one day. I don't know. I don't know what to make of this. Like, my assumption is that Battlefield definitely surpassed Call of Duty in the next day or two, right? Yeah, because I mean, Battlefield 6 crushed Call of Duty on Steam. But when you look at that data, Battlefield only had 24 hours. Call of Duty had the whole week. And it was during the Black Ops 7 beta, which anybody could access. So I feel like I would be more interested to see the following week's data. I think that would be more interesting. I smell a rat. Yeah, Battlefield is more PC oriented. I think it's doing well on consoles, though, too. It is interesting, though, how much Battlefield is a PC oriented experience. Okay. I don't know what these cats are doing, man. You just leave them. You just leave them. It's fine. All right. Let me see if there is anything else here. Oh, okay. I do want to talk to you guys about this for a moment. It's not like a major topic, but I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know how many Plants vs. Zombies fans we have here, but I have a report here from Gaming Bolt, and it says Plants vs. Zombies Replanted, an HD version of PopCap Games' classic tower defense, is not out until later this week. However, those who purchased it on the EA app can play it early by pre-downloading and changing the Unity executable. Unfortunately, it's exposed the various problems with the supposed remaster. As detailed by Gabriel of TM's review, Plants vs. Zombies Replanted has missing levels, and really missing levels, and some that are outright broken, poorly upscaled art, and numerous bugs. There are loading screens when transitioning from menus to intros, menus from the mobile version, and other strange choices. None of the levels have the correct soundtrack, and if you try speeding up the game, the music speeds up as well. What? Overall, it's not an ideal experience for either longtime fans or those just jumping into the franchise for the first time. Electronic Arts hasn't said anything about the game's current state ahead of launch, so stay tuned for updates and potential fixes. So, God, man, I can only hope that this game is going to have a major day one patch that fixes like all of this, and that this is not the final version of the game, because dude, like, I've been eagerly awaiting this game. I'm a big Plants vs. Zombies fan, especially the first game, the original 2009 experience. Um I've been seeing this kind of trending, and yeah, I can't help but kind of reiterate it as well. Like, how do you fuck this up? Now, the game isn't out yet. We have 3 more days. Again, maybe there's some kind of major patch, something that's supposed to go live the day it comes out. But, dude, this is extremely disappointing to me. Like, I'm genuinely upset. Like, I don't even think I'm upset enough to like rant. I'm just sad because it's like, bro, the Plants vs. Zombies community is not asking for much. We know not to ask for much anymore. You know? EA has fumbled the Plants vs. Zombies IP so badly. And, you know, at this point, I don't think it's asking for too much, where it's like, listen, if you want to sell us for $20 a remaster of the original game, because on PlayStation, you can only access it on the Vita and the PS3. Skip the PS4, and now 5 years into the PS5 gen, we're getting that remaster. Fine. I'll pay $20 for it, no problem. I'd love to re-experience it, get the trophies, enjoy it again. And, with maybe a couple of improvements. But instead, like, dude, the craziest thing I saw, because I saw a bunch of stuff. Apparently, yeah, they're claiming they didn't use AI, but people are looking at it and they're like, that's clearly AI upscaling. The thing that blew my mind, where I was like, this can't be real. This is so bad. This can't be, like, I'm going to throw up. This can't be real. Sorry if I sound dramatic, but I'm just, again, it's just Plants vs. Zombies 1, man. I heard there's 2 things that blew my mind. Number 1, apparently they're using the Windows Phone version of the game. I'm sorry, excuse me? Come again? But this is the part that really got me. People, because they're able to play it right now. Plants vs. Zombies music is classic. The Plants vs. Zombies theme, as well as just the songs that play throughout the levels, classic, man. One of the interesting things I saw trending on Twitter yesterday was the musician, the artist who made the original tracks. Apparently, in this version of the game, when you play a level, the track is just playing on loop, and it's playing the highest intensity version of the track. And the reason why that's so significant is because it's a tower-based game. It's a wave-based game. The way it's supposed to work is the more intense the level gets, the more things that are added to the music to give it a sense of building up, ramping up, until it peaks. Apparently, in this version of the game, you're just getting that highest peak from the onset. So there's like a single zombie coming out of the bushes walking on screen, and the track is playing like there's a whole screen filled with zombies. And I'm like, dude, this is unacceptable on every level. There are minor things that could be wrong with this, where it's like, okay, maybe I can overlook that. maybe I could say whatever it is. That's like fundamental. Like you fucking broke the game if that's what the final product is. Richrod, I will play your song. I have to hear it on my own first, though. Before I play it, I have to, put it through the filter. We do have to do some reps, so we'll do that to close out the stream. But I don't want to be like overly dramatic. No, I said I will play it, Rich. We hit 52 members, and guys, yeah, we're going to be wrapping the stream up soon. We'll be doing our outro, doing some reps. If you guys want to show any more support before we close this stream, we'll probably be going for another 5-10 minutes or so. Now would be the time to drop any more member gifts. If you want to become a member, super chats, direct donations, anything like that, now is the time. And make sure you hit that like button. We're almost at 170 likes. Joshua, is that the person that committed heinous crimes and then the news just came out recently that they were okay? I did see that. Yeah, I'm not too familiar with the situation, but all I know is I saw a lot of reactions that made me think, my God, I don't know exactly what this person did, but it must have been pretty heinous to see the way people were reacting to that news. So, yeah, that was kind of, I wasn't too, it's crazy, man. Tarnish, you could just search the band Lost Prophets or just search you could just look up the situation there if you want to. I'm definitely not going to discuss it on the channel. And again, I didn't even look too deeply into it. All right, Rich, let me see. And this song is called Take This Xbox. Is that the one, Rich? I'm going to listen to a little bit of it myself, make sure it's okay. I don't need you throwing me for any loops, bro. So give me just a second. Yeah, Josh, I saw that news, yeah. Like I knew that's what you were getting at. All right, hold on one sec. Rich. Rich is unsettled right now. Rich knows I caught him. I knew. Something told me, bro, Rich, I can't play this. Listen, here's what I can do for you. This is the best I can do. It's PG-10. Do you know what that means, Rich? I don't think you know what that means. Here's what I can do for you. Guys. Rich, this is fucking I literally can't play this. Like that's actually take. You're saying it's not even bad, dude? Don't make me read the lyric. I take it in the blank. I take it in the blank. Man booties my console. Like, it's not that bad. Here, I'm yelling into the mic. I'm sorry. I'll post the link. If you guys want to listen to Richrod's song on your own time. No. Bro, that's not what it says. I'm reading the lyrics. I'm reading the chorus right now. I'm an Xbot. I take it in the blank. Rich, I know we got 50 members. I can't play songs that are going to risk me getting demonetized. But you guys can listen to it on your own. Look, I posted it in the chat. That's the best I can do for you, Rich. Come on. Unbelievable. You guys, listen, Rich, if you want me to continue to play some of your songs, you have to keep it a little, you have to dial it down with some of this. Cause like I'm looking at most of this, most of it's fine. Like almost all of it's fine except that chorus, bro. That chorus, I can't let that play. I can't play that on the channel. And it's not even like, I mean, it's kind of funny. Like I don't think it's that bad. It's just literally you're saying the chorus is bleeped out. No, it's not. Dude, I just listened to it. Rich, you'll just have to try again, man. All right. You'll have to try again. I'm sorry. Tardish is like, yep. Titus likes it though. Titus like it sounds good. Like, Rich, here's what I'll say. Keep everything about I like the beat. I like the music. Most of the lyrics are fine, but there's just some stuff you gotta clean up in there. All right. That's how it's gotta be, man. Don't be hurt. Hey, Rich, you can't be hurt. That's not fair. You know that's not fair. You know that's not fair. I played more songs of yours than anybody else. Rich, you didn't even drop a direct dono, bro. Bro just comes in here, expects you guys to cover him. Pull up tomorrow, Rich, and we'll see. Titus likes it. Titus says you cooked, Rich. So, but I do need to get some reps. So maybe here's what I can do, Rich. I can play a previous song while I do the reps. All right? I could do that for you. Let me see. What's that one though? There was a specific song. There's one that you did. It was like a I think it was like a rap song. Hold on, I'm trying to look it over and make sure. No, it wasn't that one. Wasn't that one. Gotta find the right one. Rich, you've sent me so many, I've lost track. Here we go. I like this one that you made, Rich. I'll play this one. We're doing reps. We hit. Listen, we hit 50 members. I gotta do the reps. But here we go. Can you guys hear me okay? Sorry, my cord for the mic ripped out. I don't know why. I guess I pulled it too hard. We're good? Okay. All right, let's get some reps. Thank you guys for getting us to 50 members. Irfin's ready.
Yeah, yeah. One sign to know. Yo. Xbox crew, y'all the reason it's a joke now. Wallet's empty, Game Pass broke now. Tried to flex, but y'all played yourselves. Put the crown on clowns, now the game's on the shelves. Halo fell harder than a drunk off a bar stool. Used to be kings, now you're playing with cartoon fools. Trashing the catalog, fans stay blind. Microsoft got y'all trapped, tied to the grind. Y'all fed the beast, now the beast bit back. Paying for garbage, pockets light, pitch black. PlayStation laughing, sipping tea so fine. No comp left, just your tears with no spine. No Game Pass, no Clash, I did this. Raise the price, now you're stuck, what a big miss. No games, no shame, just pure pain. Xbox fans, y'all the reason for the rain. Y'all hyped up garbage, made the bar so low. Microsoft said cool, serve you games so slow. Red ring vibes, it's a cycle of abuse. Paid for mediocrity, what's the excuse? Exclusive this, exclusive that, you scream. But exclusives came and went like a bad dream. Game Pass fat, now it's eating your dough. Netflix for games, nah, that plan's too slow.
Yeah, I don't know, Rich. That might be the best one you made in terms of it's not too long. You know, I could get just the right amount of reps in. It's got a great beat. I like it. Which one's this? This is no Game Pass, no Class. I like it. So there we go, Rich. I was still able to get something in there for you. Mr. B liked that one. Perfect Image says he's got a rap. All right. Mr. B, I'm not sure, actually. Yeah, I saw some stuff going around about that. I haven't been following too closely, but I think that may have been exactly what happened. I'd have to look deeper into it. All right, guys. That is going to wrap up today's Press X podcast. I want to thank everybody for tuning in, okay? If you watched live, thank you. If you can't catch live and you watch later, thank you. I appreciate all the viewership. Hold on, let me get this out of the way. I also want to extend a big thank you to everybody who dropped support. We hit 52 members. Thank you so much for that. Again, go check out the members' content. If you have a membership, we're going to be doing Morning with the Misses this Friday. We did one this past Friday. You can go check that out. Thank you if you dropped any super chats, direct donations, anything. It all helps. I'm only able to do this because you guys make it possible. Don't worry, Irfin. I have it on the other tab. I'm not going to exit out of it. I'm going to watch it. All right? Rest assured, I'm going to watch it. And yeah, the only other thing I'm going to ask you to do as you're heading out is hit that like button. You can come back to the streams and leave comments if you like, by the way. Should probably start encouraging people to do that. And also, I'm going to give a shout out to Devil Shooter, who does the timestamps for the streams. If you guys see him in the comments with those timestamps, give him some thanks. Show him some love. I know he appreciates it. Thank you for what you do, Devil Shooter. And that's it. Guys, we should be back here tomorrow with another stream. I did put out a video earlier. You can go check that out if you like. And, you know, the news has been a little bit slow. Sony's been, you know, a little bit quiet since they released Ghost of Yotei. But, you know, I'll keep the content flowing as best I can and keep you in the loop with everything. So we'll keep the discussions going. But, all right, guys, enjoy the rest of your day. I hope to see you tomorrow. Until then, take care, everyone.